Pewter is about possibilities. It is an idea made real. Crafted with precision. It can make tradition timeless. Pewter evolves. When allowed to be free, it can captivate you. Pewter is our legacy, and we're keeping the legacy alive. Royal Selangor, since 1885.
And welcome everybody to the eRacing GP, where we're bringing to you guys Global Edition number 16. My name is Victor Cax. Joining me here is Ammo. We're going to be your commentators as we take you on another trip here in round number 2 of GE16. And it's been a crazy start of the season, isn't it? With round 1 having plenty of thrills and plenty of spills, that's what we've seen.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the thing is, the very first round already, we saw so many great action from all 4 classes, 3 races as a whole. Just can't wait to see what we have in store for more, because again, the choice of cars that we have right now definitely creates that. It's the reason why we still continue doing this. The reception's been great.
Indeed it is. So let's go ahead and have an overlook on how the season has progressed so far. We started round 1 in Road America, and this time we're coming back to America once more, though it's going to be a different track. This time we're going to be at Watkins Glen on the 6th of December. And it's a fantastic track. It's one of the more famous American tracks in the F1 calendar, although these days it's not part of the current modern Formula 1 calendar. It's certainly very fondly remembered by all those who follow the history of Formula 1 itself. We're running on the international layout here, which includes the boot and section that's added, according to what I've learned from you from rehearsal, in 1971. So that makes this now a 5.4 kilometer long clockwise track with 11 very fast corners. And indeed, I think speed is kind of the theme, I suppose, when it comes to Watkins Glen in general, isn't it, Ammo?
Indeed, because going from the start-finish straight, it's already a big dip to the first few sections, but the yeses, that's what really makes the circuit stand out. It's not just a few corners you had to get about, it's full throttle all the way. You had to dip your car into the curbs, and then after that, pick the right line to go onto that back straight, where there's plenty of overtaking maneuvers that can happen, especially when you go into the outer loop and then the dive through the chute into the boot section. So can't wait to see how that will fare once we get the faster cars as well onto the racetrack.
And speaking of those cars, we're going to be still running the same cars as we did from last season, because it's been such a popular choice amongst our drivers here. So that is the LMDH as well as the LMP2 cars, brought to you by the Racing Rats, or TRR. We also are bringing back the GT3 spec cars, brought to you by BCRC. And last but not least, we have the GT4 Porsche Caymans that are going to be used here for the Copper class. So an excellent choice of cars and an excellent choice here for our championship leaders right now. now after round number 1. Gold class has seen Gerlanti Haki from Indonesia take the top spot. The silver class saw Muhammad Fauzi Alim take his first win of the season, and of course being able to follow that up with a great race number 2. Muhammad Shakir Fitri is leading currently in the bronze class, and Randy Go, also from Malaysia, is leading in their copper class. So these are the guys who are standing very much at the very top of the board now after round number 1. But as we go on to the Team Cup standing, I think the real story is that the regions have been coming up in really strong showings here, especially this season.
Yeah, especially given the fact that we have as far as East Asia, especially with Sri Lanka. So glad to see that plenty of them are still joining this championship, and it contributes to the points there. 58 for them in 4th place. But up in the front, it's basically a community fair because multiple drivers are representing those teams. So it's nice to see that everyone's coming out to play and trying to make their team go as high as possible in the cup.
Yeah, so that's going to be Handshake Racing MY as well as Balapan Random Motorsports, both of these from Malaysia and Indonesia respectively. As we have a look now in the next graphic here, the Nations Cup, you can see that Malaysia still holds the a large amount of points here for this edition, although Indonesia not too far behind. So I think that regional rivalry that we sort of like to allude to in this Global Edition, it's still going to be in play for Global Edition 16.
Yeah, indeed. It's a tale as old as time, isn't it? That Malaysia and Indonesia, what we say in our local tongue, serumpun, because a lot of Malaysia and its heritage traces its origins back to Indonesia. So you can see a little bit of barbs being thrown in here and there, but in the same racing space, it's mostly very friendly. But the one-upsmanship is still there, though, Victor.
Of course. I mean, we're talking about racing right here, man. This is literally an ego-driven sport here, if I were to say so myself. Anyways, let's get all the way down into our brass tacks here, or rather, I should say the copper tacks. Great minds think alike here. So Randy Gold right now is leading, but only just by 3 points. Eric Chandra from Indonesia certainly going to give him a run for his money here in this race. But then also, impressively, Ethan Lau, the 14-year-old Malaysian, also getting himself up in the top 3 there with 29 points. So it could turn out to be a 3-way battle here, I think, for the Copper Class Championship.
Definitely, but you cannot discount any of those other guys because we're only in early days. In fact, Nimesh Dean is only just half the points behind Randy Go right now. It's even less than a win. So really then, it's all to play for in this first round. And by the time we reach the halfway point, which is the end of this second round, we'll see that a pattern will start to form and maybe we can pick out some championship contenders.
Exactly. So let's go ahead and jump right onto the racetrack. We've already had the qualifying session start earlier on. We're now in the final minutes here, and wouldn't you know it, Ethan Lau right now is on top of the board here, 151.7. It's enough to keep him on pole position, but it's certainly still going to be a lot of takers here, especially towards the end. You can see a lot of jostling already going around on the track here as these drivers just rushing to try to make their final flying lap count.
And Ethan was flashing his lights furiously just now to, I think it was Fong, yeah, Jerome Fong right behind in front of him. And now he has another driver, Kusuke Rio, the Indonesian, although he's driving under the Honduran flag. So I'm not sure how that turned out. Maybe he made it all the way from the Caribbean. But whatever it is, here we come across the line now. Ethan may not be able to improve it. No,
he does.
Somehow he does. A 21,500, 5 flat. Imagine that. Even with the traffic, he gets to do it. But we have to wait where Dimesh Dean's going to do. 7,000 behind.
Wow.
Would you believe that? And Adyansha Guna won as well. So the times are tumbling, but the top 2 right now are back into the pit. So we may not be able to see their improvements here, though. Nimesh Dean nearly stole this upset here. No, in fact, we got an upset. Donny Sadewa is up in front.
Wow, only by factors of milliseconds here, ladies and gentlemen. That's what, 25 milliseconds faster than Ethan Lau. Ethan Lau himself, 7 milliseconds faster than Nimesh Dean. I think there's still going to be plenty of takers yet to come here because we still have plenty of cars still out on the track, still coming across the line, still finding that checkered flag here now that the timer for qualifying is now over. So Sadewa currently sitting on that pole position, but a few more cars are still left to finish up the final sector. We got car number 6. I believe, rather the car that is in place number 6 here is Shakur. He's currently running into the final corner now.
No, he's across the line now.
Oh, he's crossed the line already, so perhaps did not quite improved too much on his end. Gunawan, in the meantime, still on the running here. He's just been overtaken by Muhammad Farhan by 99 milliseconds, a whole tenth of a second faster than him currently on the standings here. So he's certainly going to have to find a way to get past Muhammad Farhan here, or maybe even improve on his time here, taking his draft, hopefully to be able to get himself back up to 4th place.
And point of note, our championship leader from the first round, Randy Go, for the TGS Pantera team. That's Inti College's motorsports society, but they actually fielded an entire club here racing. He's only in P9, would you believe it? So not the best of qualifying session. We're still paying attention to Adiansa Gunawan because he's the only driver on track right now that actually can improve his position because he's still on the flyer, but he is stuck behind another car in front of him, which is Ivan Javier, his fellow Indonesian, coming out of the final corner. So let's see then if the JPRT Bigo CRC car, that's actually the full team name, coming across the line. Can he improve? Nope, he can't. Now let's see where's Randy go. Randy's actually dropped to P11 right now. So where's he going to be at the end of this, Victor? Because it's definitely not going to be looking good if he wants to actually get a chance to challenge for the title.
Well, the only saving grace from him right now is that it seems like his flying lap might be quite clear. I don't see any other cars interfering with his line, so this probably could be the best that he could do right now in this very limited qualifying session. Comes across the line right now, does take the checkered flag, only improves himself up to 7th place, just putting himself behind Shakur and quite a far away from the front of the row here, where Sadawa is currently holding that pole position.
Yep, Donny Sadewa, a really, really good time. And he's definitely one to watch out for here after a storming lap. But Ethan Lowe, though, he's another guy that we know can do the business here. He's right behind, only by just less than 300ths of a second. So first to right around 5th place where Gunawan is only about 3/10. Yeah, 3/10. It doesn't sound much, but it is definitely a lot in some people's eyes. So Sadewa then with a storming lap to get it up there.
I mean, bear in mind, these are all the same cars. This is a spec series race effectively here. Everyone running the same spec of Porsche Cayman GT4 Club Sport. And the only real difference it can make is like perhaps just tweaking their tire pressure as well as their ride height. But there's very little like setup changes that could do this car effectively. Like any slight variation in driving style can already produce a huge difference here in their qualifying times. And as we can see, like the top 5 of these of this race here, just qualifying within a second of each other. This is crazy close here on the front row. So as far as I'm concerned, I think this could be anyone's race here. It all depends right now on how clean that start is for our top 5.
Indeed, and going through some of the other comments here as we now are just a minute away from the start of the race. You can see Jurassic Reaper, aka Justin Raldev himself, wishing on his fellow drivers, his teammates, Ethan Lowe and Asher Shakur. Those are the guys from the Papega Racing team, and a couple of others. So far, it's only Malaysian comments. We're expecting more and more comments coming internationally after this. Rajamir Shaka, he's looking forward to racing in gold again, and of course, we see Young Jen as well. He's tipping in. He'll definitely be one to watch out for in bronze after getting a podium last time out.
Oh, yeah.
But apart from that, yeah, more of the usual suspects coming into play after this.
Yeah, I just appreciate the fact that Justin is very excited by the fact that we're starting on cold tires, which is always a tradition here. You know, in the first lap or the start of any race, you know, your tires, your brakes are going to be as cold as ever. Red lights are going on now, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be round number 2 of the Global Edition 16 here for the Copper class. It is go time now on Watkins Glen. Sadawa as well as Ethan Lau now trying to jostle for that front position. I think Ethan is able to get himself up alongside. Although Sadawa does have a bit of an advantage right now, he's going to be able to take the first turn here pretty neatly, a little bit on the wide side, but everyone else is able to foul in pretty nicely. No major tangles I can see for the top 5 at least, as Sadawa continues to lead the pack going through the next few turns.
Ooh, a couple of cars into the barriers further behind there, and some of these guys are not riding the actual liveries because there's more Papega cars on screen right now than it should be, so I think some people may have gotten their livery cars on. Oh no! Who is that? That's Randy Go. Randy Go's involved, but Muhammad Farhan gets spun out into the crowd, and he's going to spin forever now. Look at that. Oh, it's all kicking off. We're only in the first race. Vic, this is the big one. This is basically NASCAR's big one on a road course.
On a road course, no less. And it's still going on here. Cars still getting collected left and right. Muhammad Farhan finally on a recovery, but it's only come out in 22nd place. We Lambert Hezekiah having just passed him here. Although Muhammad Farhan in the stricken car is not going to be giving this up without a fight. Meanwhile, on the front of the grid here, Nimesh Dean putting some pressure onto Donny Sadawa, trying his level best to stay close. I mean, again, we saw the top 5 were able to qualify within a second, maybe even less than that, within each other. So I think Nimesh D is now taking all the opportunities right now while the tires are still cold to try to put some pressure here on Donny.
Yeah, let's see then what Donnie has in response, as he's actually running not his livery as well, but reminder of that. There's plenty of drivers also with their liveries, as looking on the inside goes Nimesh Dean.
Nice.
Dean gets it. That is a proper overtaking maneuver, because he dunked on the inside when Sadewa thought that he was not going to make it.
Yeah, and then that slight maneuver just cost him quite a bit of speed through that corner, and Nimesh was just able to pick up the inside on the corner right after that. So now Donnie Sadewa is going to have to fight against Ethan Lau here to retain his position here on second, while Gunawan in the meantime is just lurking in the corner. Ethan Lau now trying to have a look on the inside, not going to be able to find any gaps to exploit here, while Aryan Shah Gunawan is going to attempt to try to stay close here, and it's just continuing to keep the pressure onto our podium sitters.
Yeah, this is actually a nice view. We actually get to see the top two right in front, with the man in fourth who started fifth just now. Gunawan trying his best to overtake us. A few comments came in just now. Somebody said Spa 94, in fact Spa 98 vibes. That's what Lacambra said. He did put a bet. Is there a big crash at turn 1? Well, he was only wrong by a couple of corners.
And meanwhile, Donnie Sadewa getting passed now by Ethan Lau, but under braking, Donnie's fighting back. He has the inside, he has advantage, he has his place back there. Ethan Lau's going to have to try again, but fortunately for him, he's still able to stay in front of Gunawan. But for how long though? Gunawan having a slight peek on the inside of Ethan Lau, maybe waiting in the wings here to find his way onto the podium.
Well, let's see then, because he was... credit to where it's due. Watching brief, he just was waiting whether or not something will happen to the other guys in front. As you can see, Ethan on camera right now in his rig back in Ipoh in Perak. But it looks as though he's not hanging about. He might want to gonna want to slip. He checks it around the outside, but Sadewa again goes narrow. But remember what happened last lap? He left the door open on the inside for Dean to come through, and he's doing it again. In fact, he's just enough. He had just enough time to actually come back onto the racing line and cover the inside to prevent Ethan from coming by. But that was a wake-up call for Sadewa. He might think, yeah, if it happened to me twice, I would have been more vigilant.
Exactly. I mean, at this point, he surely could have seen how close Ethan was to his car here. So he definitely cannot afford to open a door like that, like he did to Nimesh Dean earlier on. But nevertheless, it is still status quo right now for the front of the grid, as we are entering now the fourth minute of this race. Still 11 minutes remaining here as we now jump on board with Ashir Shakur, also from the Big Up Racing team now, seeing a battle forming in front of him between Surya and Satyawan. Surya having the outside is able to carry quite a bit of speed, but Andre Satyawan actually keeps himself on the racetrack here. Bima goes way too wide over the curbs and loses his speed and loses position.
Yeah, but again, when we said earlier that you can go flat here most of the way, even in these Porsche GT4s, you still need the right line. And for Surya, he's actually gone offline, or well, Shakur as well, nearly coming a cropper here. As you can see him in his inset, he is at Axel Joho Sunway. Axel Joho, and Justin's giving us a wave right there. That's Jurassic Reaper that we saw just now opening up the comment section. And he's Asher goes around the outside, though he didn't get a move that time around. It's way too fast of a corner to do a switchback.
Yeah, and I also realized Bima Surya's car had picked up some damage, no doubt, from that first lap shenanigans, as it were. So he's certainly not having the most optimal performance out of his car right now. That's certainly something that Ashir could exploit here. If he can just find a gap, though, he does peek into the inside on his back corner. Not able to overcome Bima Surya this time, though, but it felt like he was very close that time.
Meanwhile, something happened to Adian Gunawan, because he's actually dropped from what was close to a podium position. Now he's fighting for fourth again with Vincent Antonio, and Vincent actually has a remarkable improvement from what happened in the first round of the season. He's in the thick of it. Let's see what he can do. Trying to go around the outside at turn 10, but he didn't get a run here. Now he has to tuck back into the rear wing of Gunawan coming through turn 11.
Yeah, I think I was frantically rubbing wheel to wheel there, actually, trying to fight for this position. Vincent Antonio certainly going to try again, and Donnie Sadewa now having an opportunity to try to regain positions here. Had a little bit of a peak, but couldn't quite outbreak his rival, Nimesh Dean, though, so he still has to tuck in behind after this first turn. Ethan Lau continues to follow behind. Stephen Iris, in the meantime, spun out on the main straight. Is able to get his car back on track, though, so fortunately I think that's not going to impede anyone going forwards, but he unfortunately has dropped 5 places at least while he was on our screen here, down to 20th.
I caught the beginning of that. I saw it on the top of our screens while you were describing the battle. There, look at that!
Oh, boy, wide on the grass. Oh, and hit each other as they enter the next turn. Then Donnie still not able to get himself ahead of Nimesh Dean, though. Nimesh still able to hang on, and he's hanging on for dear life right now, having the next corner coming right up. Donnie goes for the dive one more time, tries to take him on the inside. Nimesh Dean now having conceded a little bit of room on the inside there, but he's still alongside with Sadewa as we continue this battle on to the next hairpin. And this time around, Nimesh Dean reclaims the lead of the race.
Wow, wait. You thought that for a second. Sadewa wanted to go all the way. Remember, going to overtake on the grass is not really the best of options. That's what Cale Yarbrough found out in 1979 in Daytona. But Sadewa kept it flat onto the floor and still manages to do it. He gets it back here in front, but can he hold on to it? He goes wide. Now coming out to the corner where he ran wide a couple of times to let drivers through. Oh, there's a hit. That's a hit right there. Our camera unfortunately missed that one. But here comes Ethan Lau. Into the barriers he goes. He nearly got it.
Nearly got it, drifting his way in front of Donnie Sadewa, but didn't quite stick the landing, as it were. So it's still back to the usual positions here. Although certainly that was a hard stopper if there was ever one there in that battle. Things has calmed down a little bit. The gap's widened just a tad, but I think certainly they are going to be raring to go for it another round.
Indeed, and point to note, some of the drivers outside of the usual positions we're looking at, yes, on screen it says 24, but in actuality it was more than that. It's 33 cars that started this race, and one who actually fell by the wayside from that first light incident was T. Zhen Hong, as he came back into the race, and so is Rayan Beningale. He was also involved in the major skirmishes, but apart from that, 30 drivers are running on track right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's been crazy. The entry list for this season has been incredible, and I just want to give my credits, to all the people running this behind the scenes, having to handle so many entrants. Right now, a side-by-side situation. Vincent Antonio versus Randy Cole for 5th position, and Vincent is able to get himself back up in front of Randy this time around. But that side-by-side action, I don't think it's going to be the last of it. Look at the way Randy's going almost off the track onto the Armco barrier, just to try to stay in contact with Vincent Antonio.
Yeah, but Vincent himself looking a little bit shaky for a second as well, trying to chase after his fellow countryman, Adiansa Gunawan. And Guna would love to actually have a top 5 here to open up his account for the season. Meanwhile, Randy Go dropped a bit because now we're going to jump up to Vincent Antonio, who's thinking of a move. Yes, it's Indonesians 4, 5, and 6 here with Antonio thinking around the outside.
Yeah, I mean, around the outsides, a lot of moves like that were done during Road America. But Watkins Glen, let's see if that actually works out here. But for the meantime, Vincent Antonio continuing to stay right on Gunawan's toes, making sure that he is continuing to take his slipstream, especially when they get onto that back straight. But now that as we're entering that main straight here, this is probably going to be another opportunity for him to try to set up a pass in turn 1. Let's see if this is going to come to pass. Meanwhile, you also see just behind him, Randy Gold, probably still smarting a little bit from the maneuver that Vincent did onto him earlier on. Is looking to try to get some revenge maybe out on track here as he stays close to this 4th place battle, turning it now into a 3-way practically here, with Randy Gold only half a second or less than half a second behind Vincent Antonio.
Yep, while this is going on, Ethan Lowe actually has managed to get up to the back of Donnie Sadewa.
Oh boy.
With Dean making a run for it. So this is now effectively battle for the final 2 positions on the roster. It is, again, Ethan on our camera. He is the one we're focusing right now. He's around the outside. No way again. He wants to do a switchback because it's way too fast of a corner to do it. He's thinking about it though to come back on the inside, but because the driver in front has a high exit speed as well, he's not able to do so.
Yeah, and cutting onto the grass there practically in order to try to stay in 2nd place here. Ethan Lau taking the very neat and tidy racing line here, still staying on Donnie Sadewa.
Oh.
Donnie weaving around a little bit there. Might be a bit of controversial here, but nevertheless, he stays in P2.
Yeah, but again, that's basically fair move here. You can see he was moving once. If he moves a 2nd time, even if he's going to his racing line, he could be having some inquiries, but nope, he hangs it in the middle. And that's basically good racing etiquette. He hangs it in the middle to prevent a driver from going either inside or outside. He has nowhere to go but to try any way possible to go, even if he does the old bump and run in NASCAR, as they say it. But I think Ethan was pretty much having a racing etiquette at the top of his priority list, and for the both of them, to their benefit, are still battling for the podium positions and the win even.
Yeah, I mean, better to finish better to finish than not to finish at all, you know.
Well,
so
yeah.
if they were to come together there and get themselves off of the podium, that would be disastrous for the two of them for sure. But we're now running into the final 3.5 minutes of this race here. So Ethan Lau continue to keep the pressure onto Donny Sadewa, goes off the track once again, goes back on, loses a bit of speed, and that allows Ethan Lau to stay so close to him through this first sector.
Yep, coming up through the formidable S's. This is the side of where Francois Sever had his horrendous accident that killed him in 1973. Luckily though, the blue barriers, these Armco barriers that are trademark of Watkins Glen, have been beefed up since and still maintains the character that the circuit had over the years. But I don't think the drivers will be minding that too much. Here comes Ethan Lau on the outside to overtake a blue car right in front of him. And he does go for the switchback.
Nice.
That's really, really brave. But because the next corner coming out is a left-hander, he is going to end up on the outside again.
Wow, just hanging on there. No, Donny goes a little bit wide this time. Ethan Lau snatches that inside from him, forces him onto the grass. And look at that, a little bit of obstruction on track there. Might have provided a bit of distraction, but once the dust clears, Sadewa continues to stay just alongside Ethan Lau. Ethan Lau right now holding that position, but only just as we now enter the final stretch.
I was trying to find whose car was that, but whatever it is, at least the driver has gotten back to the pit lane. Here comes Donny onto the inside. Donny now tries to push Ethan out on the outside. That will actually do Nimesh Dean a whole world of good because these two are fighting, and cumulatively they have lost more than 1.5 seconds.
Exactly, so that allows Nimesh Dean now to have a commanding lead over this race here while both of these guys continue to tussle along amongst each other here. And the thing is, they're very evenly matched in terms of that speed, right? So it's really very difficult in this circumstance here, especially in this spec series, for one to overcome the other. This is likely going to be a battle that will continue on until the very, very final lap.
Indeed, and hopefully that he can stick onto this as Sadewa runs a bit wide off the apex, but luckily, because the funny feature in Watkins Glen is that first corner still counts as part of the track, so they can just slightly finagle the track limits on the outside, shall we say. We cannot stress that how enough we can do that. Randy Go and Guna One are also fighting behind him. We have to focus on separate battles. Even the battle for the final points paying positions is very close between 3 different drivers. So unfortunately our cameras are not enough to focus on one at a time. But here's the main battle up in front. Ethan and Donny have collided once again. And Donny goes through, but he runs it wide. And Ethan this time makes it stick on Donny Sadewa. Good bit of driving from both of them. Now he has to defend. Here comes Donny.
Yeah, Donny one more time, trying his level best to stay on the racing line. But Ethan Lau continues to block him all throughout. In the meantime, Gunawan and Randy Go continuing their battles just behind these two. Look at that positioning though. A little touch on the inside there. Ethan slides a little bit, but somehow stays in second. Great control there by Ethan Lau to try to stay on second place. 30 seconds remaining in this race.
Yep, and I think this might just be the final lap. You'll never know here as Ethan goes very narrow but gets it stopped just in time. And all the while there, Nimesh Dean for the CMSC Ceylon Motorsports Club team is up ahead, much to the delight of the Sri Lankans in the chat right now, especially Kevin Samarajiwa and Sharanya Mendes who are watching on, and Savi Rathnayake too. Coming up now to the final corner. Yep, this is the final lap. And Ethan got the better of Donny Sadewa, but Nimesh Dean though had the better of both of them. He comes out of turn 11 and through the gantry here to win his first race ever, I think, in the RGP. But regardless of that, he takes it in front of Ethan Lau and Donny Sadewa, who round out your podium. What a battle here. And Donny then does a bit of a spin towards the end.
It's still for last lap. The checker flag is not out yet.
Oh, really? No, I think it is.
Is it?
I think it might have been. Wait. We have to wait and see first.
We have to wait and see. I don't see the checker flag out yet. The server still says that it is the last lap here. So, oh boy, this may not be good news here for Sadewa, who celebrated possibly a little bit too early here.
Yeah, he's back in the pits. So, what's going on here?
Yeah, this is insane. What just happened here? The checker flag is not out yet, and already Sadewa has gone to celebrate. Now he has to continue on from the pit lane here while the match D continues on. This is
oh, that is so embarrassing. Would you believe it? Wow. We thought that the last lap was already counted, but unfortunately, because the way that Dean came across the line, maybe there was a second in there enough for him to cross it. Whatever it is, he's going on, and for good reason as well. Luckily, he didn't back off Now he's actually getting it, but Donny Sadewa, unfortunately, who was in third, has actually done a Donny Allison because he went on the grass earlier. Luckily, he didn't collide like what happened in Daytona in 79, but he has absolutely dumped his race out of there.
Oh man, that's just heartbreaking here for him. But yeah,
Alicia Sparker 22, Catalunya, yes.
Yep.
If you remember that one, he came across the line, thought the race was finished, but he dropped it. Wow. Donny Sadewa will be kicking himself for that one.
Yeah, Nimesh Dean and Ethan Lau continue on though. They will be taking that first and second for sure. But now because of that little kerfuffle, Gunawan is currently sitting in that third place. Vincent Antonio and Randy Gore obviously still chasing him for that, so it could still come down to the wire. But nevertheless, Nimesh Dean now finally comes across the line, takes the checkered flag, and takes the win here for race number 1 of the Copper class. Ethan Lau takes a good second place there after having dispatched his nearest rival, Donny Sadewa. And Gunawan also gets past. Look at that! Such a close finish between the two of them.
By only just 0.08 of a second with Randy Go in third place. So 0.5 of a second separating third, fourth, and fifth there as the rest of the field come by. Jordan McNeil, his first points ever for the TGS Pantera team. That will be a nice way to do it. Fifth and sixth, Randy Go and McNeil. They're both part of the same team. Umar Mokhtar, seventh for the other Papega driver, which Justin forgot to credit. Eighth, Kosuke Rio. Ninth is Ash Shakur. And 10th is Evan Javier. So Papega guys having all three of the guys in there. So there'll be some happy chappies right there. Rest of the field, Faris Ali Shadani 11th. 12th is Satya 1. 13th Farhan. 14th Ahmad Shamim, who's celebrating a bit early, if I'm honest. He should be waiting until he wins the race to do that. And Eric Chandra, who was one of the pace setters in that first race of the season, is in 15th. Don't mind that, it says 16th, but I think he finished 15th. Whatever it is, your winner today in this first race of Copper class for ERGP Global Edition 16 Round 2 is Nimesh Dean, and much to the delight of the Sri Lankans who are coming out in force in the comment sections to wheel him on.
Yeah, lots of celebration in the chat for sure here for Nimesh Dean, and a well-deserved one at that. Took the lead away from Donny Sadewa, who actually qualified in that pole position and was able to hold on to it, especially because Sadewa and Ethan Lau have both been fighting amongst each other for that second place up until the penultimate lap. So that helped him a lot in this race for sure. But nevertheless, you know, to be able to be in that position, that worked out so well for him. But you also got to feel for Donny Sadewa. He thought the race was over given the timer went out before they actually crossed the line. So by rights, that could have been the last lap, but the system still showed that it was the final lap even after the leader had passed the line. So that's just really unfortunate for him, and sad to say, sometimes, you know, you have to watch out for that checkered flag first before you can confirm that the race is over.
Yep, even if it says leader on the final lap, is on the final lap, you just cannot celebrate too soon. And unfortunately, that's what happened for Donny. I thought, oh, okay, race is over, we can just go on and have our congratulations. But now we had to say commiserations to Donny. It's a painful feeling. I feel for him. He did not deserve that. He drove such a good race and such a good battle with Ethan. Now that he got pole, but he threw it all away because of unfortunate timing. So now he has to do it all the way from P22.
Yeah.
And a much bigger task because the second race only top 10 get points.
So, I mean, the only saving grace for him is that, you know, the top three for these will be starting in that 10th place, like, reverse grid for race number 2. So he's at least close enough that perhaps he could try to fight them for points in race number 2. But the thing is that he would have wanted to have those points already from race 1. So, I mean, it's frustration here for sure for Donny Sadewa, but again, it's just something he's gonna have to take, you know, moving forward here, unfortunately, because right now the race must go on. So race number 2 is gonna be set up very soon here as we wait for the server to initiate its restart. Right now.
Yep. Right now we're looking also at some of the other drivers that finish outside of the range, especially 24. Wei Shin Wong, that's a shocker. He was right up there in the top 15 in the first round. Now we can actually get back into the action here with race number 2 as we are trying to adjust things. So hopefully you can stick by with that one. But yes, definitely talking point in that first race, Donny Sadewa, how to throw away such good work. And it's not his fault per se, but it can happen to anybody.
Yeah, I mean, it happened to Alexis in 2022. So
Alicia.
Yeah,
Alicia's
yeah, sorry. So yeah, it's happened before, and you know, that's why you don't stop pressing the gas until you see the checkered flag, guys.
Yes.
So that's always true, whether it be in the real world or whether it be in the virtual world, as you see here. 12 seconds before the start, Donny Sidewa has to restart this race here from the 21st place. Not a great place to be in, but nevertheless, the racing must go on. Red lights are on, and now we are off for race number 2 here for the Copper class in round 2. Ashir Sakura is currently on the front row together with Evan Xavier. Evan is on the inside there. He should be able to take this first turn with no trouble whatsoever. You can see a lot of cars jostling behind. A bit of a concertina there, catching up one of the Pepeka racing drivers there, but that little bit of contact doesn't seem to have unsettled them too much. Still, cars are filing in right now, going up through the curves. Very tricky curves indeed, especially back in 1973. But contact with the barriers there. It's caused another big one here in race number 2.
And Nimesh Dean is one of them. Look, you can see there, multiple drivers fanning in. Well, remember that one of those Fast and Furious movies where the cars kept crashing each other, remote controlled by a hacker? Well, we got it here right now. Cypher control all the cars. Well, here's an example here right now.
Oh, lordy. That's a lot of stricken cars right now. You can see Randy Cole having to restart this from 27th place. This is a crazy crash right now. But, you know, for one, though, this has actually helped up Sadewa because he's now up into 11th place here, having been able to escape most of the carnage, it seems.
And it's still not over here because you can see Umar Mokhtar has a spin, and he takes 2 for 1.
Nice!
Sadewa then, the fire in his belly after what was a rookie mistake. Now he's back up into the top 10, so at least he'll get some points out of this, as, well, some comments right here have pointed out. Well, I don't think we can say that on stream, but point stands. It was apocalyptic, to say the least, that happened just now. And we had to go back to Randy Go because Go is the championship leader coming to this, and he's only fighting for P27. There he is. He goes running outside. He hits. Oh, and he's into the barriers once again. Not the best way to do it. And there's Ryan Benigale in the Yo Watanabe Love Life car, driving for JPRTX CRCX Bigo. I approve of the livery, by the way. But unfortunately, not in the best of light. Right at the back here is Ethan Lowe's in the pits.
Ethan Lowe's gone into the pits. I wonder what is this for? Is this a drive-through or is this just...
Jump start.
Jump start, maybe. Yeah, could be a jump start situation here. I mean, he managed to get himself all the way up into 2nd place, was fighting with Xavier earlier on. And now, unfortunately, he's going to have to start things from all the way back down to 18th place. That's practically put him out of points for now, but still 12 minutes to go. Perhaps he could try to find some extra positions from here on out.
And of course, our race winner from race 1, Nimesh Dean here. So 1st and 2nd have ended up 16th and 18th right now. So not the best way to start in this 2nd race here, as more battles are going on. We can't even pick out the race leader right now. It's Aryansa Gunawan. He's right up in front. Here's Wei Shin Wong, who is actually having a good recovery drive from P24. So that crash has benefited him a lot, as he's sporting the girls' frontline livery.
Nice.
I think. Yes, our producer approves of that. He is fist pumping in the air. But we're not going to mind that too much right now because we're watching. Oh no, there it is!
No!
Was about to focus on that. Umar Mokhtar was nearly knocked out there by Benjamin Jacob, who was running a different name in that first race as Victor's R1. Luckily, he's got his real name this time. Elman Michael, who was part of the handshake team, loses it coming at the heel of the boot. Now he's going to get swarmed here by the rest of the field. We need a heli shot of this. There you go.
Wow.
3-4 cars right around him. He is definitely the meat in this sandwich. And here comes one to come through and just take it all the way. It's Arizkola Aldisha who was in there. Look at this. 5-6 cars even involved in all of this.
Yeah, this is a massive pile of battles going on here in front of our eyes. All these Porsche Caymans just bumping and grinding against each other right now. One almost into the barriers there, as I could see. Benjamin Jacob now being chased hard by Nimesh Dean. He feels like he has an opportunity here, but look at the amount of traffic he has to deal with in front of him here. Traffic of the other cars that are leading him at the moment. Now he's getting a good run up, but it's blocked a little bit by some of these cars in front. He cannot find a way past quite yet. He's gonna have to bide his time a little bit until they get into the first turn where things probably could open up a little bit. And one car just got completely wide. One car goes sideways behind him. It's a Syrie right now sliding and ending himself out onto the run-out area on the first couple turns.
Oh, that was a ping pong maneuver, but mercifully though, it actually avoided The drivers were watching Nimesh Dean and Elmin Michael, who were involved in that one. As is that Umar? No, it's Benjamin Jacob, who actually was the biggest loser of that. He's lost ground to this battle. We're not even paying attention to the guys in the points right now because there's so many little battles going on the track.
Yeah, I think Sadewa is already on the verge of passing Farhan there. I can see the two of them jostling out on the leaderboard here. You can see now we're on board with Farhan. I think just behind him is Donny Sadewa. There he is, already catching up into his rear bumper, catching him very nicely there. Tries to go for a maneuver around the outside, a bit difficult, but then again, this is a very sharp hairpin. Perhaps you could find it on the exit here as he swings on by, still around the outside of Farhan, still able to stay within his B pillar. Now moving up towards his front tire now. Very much a side-by-side race, but Farhan still has a slight advantage though coming into the next turn. But he tries to cut around the outside, slides a little bit, has to concede the position back again, but still, man, that's edge of your pants racing right there.
Oh, that was really crisscross driving from the both of them, and especially Sadewa had to get his arms crossed just to save the car from the spin, but to their detriment, the both of them, including Farhan, they've lost touch to Asher Shakur in P6, so this battle has really not benefited them one bit.
Bumper cars indeed, Harlan Redcliffe. This is very, very chaotic racing going on here, but it's still exciting to watch it here from the commentary booth as Donny Sadewa continues to formulate his plan again. How he wants to try to get past Muhammad Farhan. Look at that, the diver on turn one, taking the banking to his advantage there, and over the curbing goes for Muhammad Farhan. He loses the position from the first turn.
Yep, he was hung out to dry for a bit, though it was of his own volition too, because he tried to hang in on the outside. He thought that maybe he going too wide may have incurred an off-track penalty, but no, that runoff area is still considered part of the circuit, so it did help Farhan for a sec, but then Sadewa just thought, okay, I got a better view, I'll take that position, thank you very much.
And sometimes that's just the beauty of these American tracks, right? Like, even in their American racing series, they don't usually police what do you call it, cutting the track as strictly as they do in most other racing series. So you see plenty of that kind of action going on in America. So, well, you know what they say, whenever you're in Rome, you know, must do as the Romans do. Evans Xavier sliding his car a little bit. That's not the way to take that corner, my mates, as he gets passed by Eric Chandra for fourth place.
Yeah, Asher Shakur actually got him in position there. As now that's Donny Sadewa on the inside.
Wow!
He jumped out of there like gangbusters to come by, and he takes away yet another position. So again, it's a serious case of what might have been had it not been for that rather unfortunate timing where he thought that the race was over, but it was still on and he celebrated way too soon.
Yeah, well, this making up for that lost time indeed here, but a 6th place recovery from 21st place, mind you. It's a very impressive run up here for Sadewa, and certainly more than makes up for some of the disappointment, at least for the first round. But I think the troubles for Evan Xavier is not quite done yet, as Marwa Farhan's already getting a run up onto him alongside here. Oh, sorry, Farhan's already ahead. I think it's Wei Shen Wong right now who's getting up alongside him and is looking to try to pass him for a position. Oh, the jostle the cars! They ping pong into each other, and both Evan Xavier as well as Wei Ching Wong end up into the wall. Crazy chaos here in turn one.
It's still not over!
Another one!
And Disha gets involved this time, so unfortunately a very unsafe rejoin from Nak Wong. So unfortunately, he normally has the knack for it. This time, however, his skills deserted him.
Oh boy, the puns were just coming out so far in the Global Edition 16. Make sure you guys follow and subscribe to us if you want to listen to more of these kind of puns. But back into the racing action once more. I think it's Elman Michael now trying to get a run up onto Evan Xavier. He has the inside going to the next turn. This could be a very clean cut operation here if he can just stick it onto the inside. Evan Xavier still doing his level best to stay alongside, but it's getting forced a little bit wide there. Still able to stay ahead of Elman Michael though, so that is actually pretty impressive.
Oh yeah, it was a bit of bumping and boring there, and they're not that far away from the post position being held currently by Ayman Shamim, so if they can work together, maybe it will be possible. As someone said just now, I think it was it Kevin Smarajiwa said they should have drafted each other just now.
Yeah, I think it's Marcus.
Yeah, Marcus Lacambra said Sadewa and Lowe would have actually worked together to get up to the back of Dean, but it wasn't to be, unfortunately, at the time.
Well, still a bit of ways to go here. 5 minutes and 40 seconds remaining in our final race for the Copper class today. Eric Chandra now eyeing an opportunity perhaps to get it onto the podium as he's following very closely to Kyosuke Ryo. So if he could just play his cards right, he might be able to put himself in the position to battle him for that P3.
Yep, and that would be a great return for Chandra after he was one of the fastest guys in that first round that we mentioned before. Unfortunately, a bit of luck deserted him. He tries a bit of a dive. And look at that, hard on the anchors. The brake disc glowing. You can tell how much he stepped on the brakes there, but no way through just yet. And that's all to the wound for him. Asher Shakur is not that far behind, so he lost a bit of time from that one. Now he'll have to consider, probably ponder and try to recoup after this one because he's on the long straight here. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of time being bled from that one.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's just the nature of it when you're on the track this fast, right? On Watkins Glen, slight mistake on any one of these fast corners here, and you're going to be bound to lose several tenths of a second of time just for that one simple mistake on any one of these corners. So Elwin Michael, though, continuing to flash Evan Xavier, just keep warning him right now that he's coming after his 11th place. Trying to keep it nice and tidy on that racing line here. This one quarter can sometimes catch even the best of us, especially because how like claustrophobic this track feels sometimes with the Armco barriers being that close to the tarmac. It gives you a sensational feeling of speed for sure, but also means that, you know, a spin out or a washout anywhere here, and you're just going to be going straight into that barrier. No questions asked.
Well, we're talking about straight to that barrier. That corner, the heel of the boot, that's where we lost Helmut Koenig in the 74. Exactly 50 years ago now, would you believe? It's been half a century since that gruesome accident in Formula 1. But luckily, the barriers have been reinforced since then, and we haven't had uprooted blue barriers at Watkins Glen since. So we can at least admire the beauty of the circuit alongside the trademark sky blue barriers that wrap around the entire circuit as part of what makes this track a modern marvel, but with some classic charms.
Indeed, still a classic battle going on here. Wei Shin Wong now trying to recover back after having been collected earlier on. Now we're having a bit of a tussle going on for 13th place. Ahmad Shamin.
In fact, Shamim held to that 10th place for a while. He actually whacked the barrier, so that's why you can see the bumpers dents. And now that battle for Elmin Michael is now potentially up for points here with Evan Xavier. Setien not that far behind either. Dean has managed to recover up to P14 from all the way at the back as well, up to P9.
So that's going to be fantastic news for him for sure. Let's see how this will play out. It's still going to be a bit of a ways to go. 2 minutes and 45 seconds remaining at this juncture here. So that could potentially be 1, 2, perhaps extra laps. It's going to be a nice battle here for our final few laps, though, as Vincent Antonio now getting the run up onto Adyan Shah Gunawan, getting around the outside. Can he make it stick, though? No, Gunawan still able to stay on the inside, stay with a lot of speed indeed, and closes the door on the exit there. So Vincent's going to have to try again, swinging around, trying to find another way around, perhaps on the outside once more here for Vincent Antonio, as Adyan Shah is doing his level best to stay on the defensive line as much as possible, but Vincent is still keeping up with him all throughout the corner. Now he has the inside going to the next one here. Is he going to be taking a dive here? Adyan Shah attempts to try to stay fast around the outside, but already Vincent Antonio is getting his nose ahead. Bit of bumping, bit of grinding, still not over yet. Coming up to the next turn here, and Vincent Antonio finally closes the door on Gunawan.
Great bit of driving for the both of them. A bit of bumping and boring from between the two Indonesians, but it's Antonio who got the better of him that time around. As they come across the line here, we still have, now hopefully no one does a Sadewa in this one, 2 laps to go after this.
Still ways to go here, and Vincent Antonio cannot rest on his laurels quite yet because he knows that Adyan Shah is close enough, and he knows that Adyan Shah has the speed to try to fight back, and indeed he is taking the slipstream off of him off of these fast corners here, and that certainly leaves him in a very, very tight position here. Only have just taken a lead here with 1 minute remaining. Now Adyan Shah is coming up a nice run up on the back straight here. He is coming alongside now, and its next turn it's still going to favor Antonio somewhat, but not if Gunawan can outbrake him going to that turn, going around the outside one more time. Gunawan now, this time, trying to make the move onto Vincent Antonio. Doesn't quite make it stick this time, though, as Vincent stays up in front.
But for how long here? Because now we come to the most crucial corners where you can decide the overtake. In fact,
Whoa.
there goes Antonio on the outside.
Oh.
They hit each other. They slide. They go into the barriers. Who's going to win this one now? There is Rio. Rio takes it. Wow. Both of them, the leaders, have hit each other, and that allows Kosuke Rio to get up to the front. What an amazing battle here. And it's still not over yet.
It's still not over yet. 20 seconds remaining on the clock right now. I believe the timer might run out before they get onto the finish line. And Rio has now sensationally taken the lead here as the two leaders have been battling each other and unfortunately caught themselves out and hung themselves out to dry, in fact. My goodness, what drama we're seeing here in the final dying moments of race number 2. Adil Shah and Vincent continuing to fight each other, though. This time being flanked by Umar Mokhtar. This is just gone completely sideways here, the storyline they were building up for the two of them.
Yeah, it could have been their win, but unfortunately, they're now just the bridesmaids.
Well, Rio is certainly feeling very much on cloud 9 there. Hopefully he's going to be able to bring it home. Now we're off officially on the final lap here. Gunawan coming across here and continuing to stay on Vincent Antonio, trying to stay as close as possible here in this final lap. He knows that the time is running out for him to try to regain a position ahead of Vincent and to stay on a podium here. Whew. This is such a crazy race here, my man.
It's not over yet now, mate. Look at that. Umar Mokhtar is also going to join the party here. Oh, no! Just as I said it, they hit each other. Oh, great save, though. Not going to lie. I thought Umar's just going to swap ends, and it spins out on the straight. As meanwhile, the both drivers behind, I don't know what they're doing there. They're trying to avoid each other. They're having a bit of a tango, but Farhan. Oh no! It's not a friendly battle, that's for sure.
Wow!
In fact, that is not looking friendly at all.
Yeah.
Sadewa looked like he wanted to run Farhan off the road.
He's trying to rub him off into the shoulder of the road there, but to no avail as Muhammad Farhan still continues to stay slightly ahead. Now they'll be side by side. Sadewa continues to try to take his position here, but I think the Farhan still has a lot of speed on the exit. He's still able to stay just ahead of Tony Sadewa, who had to dodge a little bit there, trying to cut in front of Farhan, but not having the speed to do so.
Yep. And on a side note, somebody asked what happened to Eric Chandra. Well, he was in the pits just now, so he might have gotten a penalty somewhere that he had to serve and go for the pit lane. So whoever was asking about Eric Chandra, that's your answer. He was in the pit lane earlier. Now, we're coming through the final two corners. Who's it going to be? Oh, they hit each other again! Sadewa and Farhan are not friends today. They are definitely trying to get at each other's throats. We now have to pass it over back to Kosuke Rio. Would you believe it? The biggest beneficiary from the big kerfuffle that happened between Antonio and Gunawan. He's going to take it.
The Japanese name with the Honduran flag comes across the line now to take the checkered flag. Kyosuke Rio takes the win in race number 2. Shakur takes second place here. Vincent Antonio takes third place ahead of Gunawan. Umar Mokhtar takes the 5th position in front of Muhammad Farhan. Nimesh Dean takes 7th place. Donny Sadewa makes it up into 8 as he crashes into the tire barrier. And Xavier makes it the 9th. Satyawan in 10th.
More and more accidents behind, but Sadewa got actually beaten to the line by Farhan, incidentally. So you saw that Sadewa actually stopped well because he actually got wide into the barriers. Whatever it is, the biggest winner out of all this, he will be counting his lucky stars, is Kosuke Rio, and he tries to do a donut. Fails the first time. Hopefully he gets around the second time. But whatever it is, an amazing race, and we could not have wished a better way to start off the appetizers, shall we say.
This is so much chaos and drama actually in this race here that, man, it's really hard for me to keep track of everything that's happened. And the fact that both like Vincent Antonio and Gunawan, yeah, they both knocked each other out while they were battling for first place, and then unexpectedly handed the win over to Rio instead. This is just crazy things that we're seeing right now here, and this is only the first race of the night here, mind you.
First class of the night, yeah.
First class of the night. We still got 3 more classes to go, 2 more races remaining this evening here, and even Chad is just, I think, just as flabbergasted as what we just saw.
Someone in the comments, that's Andreas Wolf, a familiar name if those who follow Endurance Edition. He was racing for Hold My Beer Racing in that one point. He says, oh my god. Yes, indeed. That's our reaction as well. Can you imagine the amount of chaos that happened left, right, and center? The stewards are going to have fun, is what Kevin Samaraji was said. So, yeah.
Well,
Arlen Redcliffe said, let's have MX5s. We did that before a few seasons ago, and it was more chaotic because slower cars, yes, the racing is close, but then the closing separation between those cars are much closer. And when they put a pack together, especially at Watkins Glen, we saw even bigger accidents then.
Yeah, well, with that, on that note, we're going to be taking a short break while we get ourselves set up for the bronze class. It's going to be happening right after this. And of course, after that, we will have the gold and silver combined class race to end the night with. So make sure you guys stay tuned. We'll be right back here at the ERGP. My name is Victor Cax. Joining me here is Emo, and we'll be right back after these messages.
Pewter is about possibilities. It is an idea made real. Crafted with precision. It can make tradition timeless. Pewter evolves. When allowed to be free, it can captivate you. Pewter is our legacy, and we're keeping the legacy alive. Royal Selangor, since 1885.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We have an interview with one of the Pepeka Racing Team drivers here. Shakur is in the interview booth with us here. Shakur, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yep, hearing you loud and clear.
All right, nice.
So congratulations on taking a second place there just now in race number 2, and I believe you finished in 9th in race number 1.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. So, I mean, tell us, like, how do you feel right now?
Honestly, it feels very surreal. I wasn't expecting that kind of result today. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, again, it was like it was misfortune of the two guys who were fighting for first place, who actually bumped each other off. That's why it was you guys were able to get past just now. So
Yeah.
but up until that point, I think it was a fairly chaotic race as far as you could see here in the commentary booth. Like, how was it for you, though, especially for the starts of the two races? We had two big crashes at the beginning of both races here.
Yeah, well, my start isn't always strong, so obviously when crashes happen, I tend to back out a lot. But I just kept it in my head that as long as I survive, I think I'll be able to get through it, and that's what I did. So,
Well,
got a good result. Yeah.
Yeah, it's indeed a really good result here. But in any case, right now, so I mean, right now coming into round number 2 here of the Global Edition 16, we still have 2 more rounds remaining here. What's been sort of like your how do we say, like, prep work, or how do you prepare coming into each of these races here? Do you usually take a lot of time off really to do some practices here, or do you try to do more like let's just say intensive practice leading up to the race?
To be honest, I've been really busy with university, so I haven't got much time to practice. So usually my practice times are literally coming into Axel at around 10 a.m. up until the race. So I got about a few hours of practice before each race.
So intensive practice it is then.
Yeah, it is intensive.
Very
yes,
intensive. In any case, man, congratulations, especially picking up all of those points there in race number 2. Any last thoughts you'd like to share for the for our viewers here?
Honestly, I just hope you all enjoy the race, man. As long as I'm enjoying it, I think you guys should be too. So
Yeah, all right. Good words there. So thank you so much, Asher Sakur, for joining us here in the interview, and good luck to you in the future rounds.
right, thank you.
All right, so that is our interview session done and dusted, and that's, of course, the copper class already completed here for round number 2. Now we're going to be moving on to a bigger class here, or rather bigger in terms of that engine capacity, perhaps, because it's now the GD3 cars that are going to be taking to the Watkins Glen, and this, of course, the bronze class is going to be coming up next. So if we can have a look at their driver standings here, you can see that Malaysia's Muhammad Shakir Fitri is currently on the top of the board here, 43 points. That puts him clear ahead of his nearest rival, Zarif Adam Anwar Shazli, who is currently sitting at 27 points. So by my estimation, that's about 16 points ahead. 14 points ahead of Zarif Adam here.
16, yeah, you're right.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, thereabouts. My mental math's never that
Yeah,
accurate.
yes.
Yeah. But nevertheless, it's a fantastic, a fantastic lead there here that Shumama Shakir Fitri has accomplished in this first round. We also got Chester Elok from the Philippines currently sitting in that 3rd spot there. Only a single point behind Zarif Adam and 17 points, if my math is correct, to Muhammad Shakir Fitri. So maybe a bit far off to fight for that first position in this second round, but certainly close enough that he could potentially pick up a second place if he can do just a little bit better compared to Zarif Adam.
Indeed, but Zarif also was the one that had a surprise pole position last time I rode America. By his own admission, he didn't have that much practice. Well, that's what they all say if they get lucky, right? But I think he generally did not have that much track time, but somehow he managed to pull it out of the bag in the dying seconds to get his first ever pole position, much to the chagrin of his teammates, who were probably thinking, well, they put in some slightly more laps on it on the track, but luck also plays a factor there, and that's what paid him in his favor. But make no mistake, he did have some skill involved in that one. So you never know what's going to happen here, especially in the second round when everyone's gotten a feel for the car and the track. Let's see what will entail in terms of championship pattern after this.
Exactly. So on that note, I think qualification has just started now for the bronze class. You're going to see cars just rushing to try to be amongst the first batch of cars to get out. You can also see a whole bunch of cars just holding back a little bit, waiting for these group of cars to go first so that they can go a little bit later on where there may be a little bit more track for them to use here. But here we go. No Young Jen is currently leading this first batch of cars off onto their first out lap here. We are, of course, running on a 6-minute qualifying session here, so every single lap of this will count. Even these out laps here have to be done nicely here in order for these guys to be able to set up for their flying lap. And obviously, with we've got so many cars out on track here. We got what, 30 plus entries even inside the bronze class. It's going to be a very, very crowded out here in Watkins Glen.
And we're focusing on our championship leader right now, who has a livery that I will approve.
Hey,
It's very cute and funny, of course.
I love the pastel colors. Like,
Yeah.
you should have more pink on our race cars. I mean, even in like the real world series, the only pink cars we see are like the BWT, the sponsored cars.
Yep,
But
like Alpine, for example.
Yep.
Or before this, it was Racing Point. But for those who are questioning, that is actually an original character by an artist called Kani Bimu. Literally means crab. Yeah, Kani. But it's a character called Potofu. So if people know that lore, that artist has actually used these characters for a long time. But anyway, besides the point, we are focusing on our championship leader right now because he will be one of the first 2 drivers to break through the timing beam and start a lap here around Watkins Glen.
yeah, he's certainly going to be doing his level best here. So now we're going to be starting our flying laps. We're going to enjoy on this onboard here together with Prototye Anwar as he follows behind Ngoyong Jen. So you can see, oh, that's just cars littering the side of the track.
What the heck?
I mean, just reminding me of like 1980s like F1 when, you know, literally when you crash out, you park your car on the side of the track. They literally didn't give a damn back in the days. But
Apologies for that.
well, in any case, Prototye Anwar is going to try to get past Shazli right now in order to try
No,
to
it's
get...
it's Yongjen.
Oh, Yongjen, sorry. Yongjen right now to try to get some clear track in front of him. A bit of a tease of some racing action that we might be seeing later on here after this qualifying is done. But he's nevertheless already ahead, coming down into the dipping down section here, going into the boot. This is where, like you mentioned, this is a very tricky part of the track here to actually navigate, isn't it?
Yeah, and it was tricky for a driver that unfortunately lost his life here, as we mentioned before, Helmut Koenig, exactly 50 years ago now. Wow, time passes, but imagine that he was a contemporary among with Niki Lauda and all that back in the day. So that's how long ago it was. But enough about the history of the track for now. Here's Yongjan here. We're focusing on him because he was one of the drivers that was with Shake Fitri breaking the timing beam, but Shake Fitri has overtaken. So you can tell that, well, Shake will be the first to set a proper lap time once we get things going.
Exactly. He should be completing his flying lap after this next corner here, right around the pit entry. Looking ever so stand out on the track here, especially that pastel pink and teal color. Now coming across the line this time is a 142.7, so that's enough so far.
Whoa!
Justin Raldev overtakes him by a 1/10 of a second to take the provisional pole.
Well, welcome back, Justin Raul Dev. He was pretty disappointed with his first round. This one, he's coming back with vengeance, and his teammate goes 5 thousandths faster. Welcome back as well, Azim Shami Mokhtar. We missed him too after he missed out that first round. Well, you can see there a lot of the Pepeka guys in there, including Elliot Sternagel, their new recruit, an American kid who actually he met through another tournament. He's up in P4, so he's one to watch out. Well, welcome Pepeka Racing up to the top echelons. This is going to be fun to watch.
Yes, it's going to be fun indeed. Look at that already. I mean, just like with the Copper class, we're seeing such close qualifying times right now. Granted, it is mostly for the top 3, but I have no doubt that as the times continue to fall here, we might be seeing even closer qualifying times as more flying laps get posted here. Diwan Iranga currently sitting in 4th position there, sporting a very smart Sim Racing Lanka livery here. The Digi Camo red and dark red, always a standout here out on track.
Yep, but for the time being though, his first couple of corners were looking quite steady, but lap time wise, maybe he's keeping it somewhere else for the time being. We're watching quite a few drivers here if they can break the timing beam. One of them was Shake Fitri. He is the first to come through, and unfortunately, he has been overtaken by Yongjan, and he's being caught right now by one of the Pepega guys, and that is Zarif Adam. So Zarif will be a bit frustrated here, knowing that there's a car who's supposed to be going toe-to-toe, being a bit of a blocker. So let's see then if that affected his time across the line. He goes, and Zarif is still P6, but Justin goes faster. He goes about a 10th ahead of Azim Shami Mokhtar, and Yongjan's back to the pits though, so he's called time on his qualifying. Now, this is the next lap on. It looks as though Zarif is still being held back here by Kirin.
I'm just like silently rooting for the like American cars in this one here because it's very dry for Ford here in the top 10. Only 2 cars able to post lap times fast enough to compete with the AMG GT3s, which are obviously like one of the more meta picks in this BCRC pack here. But the Mustangs have been no slouches when it came to Road America. Let's see if that works out well for them as well. And Watkins Glen continuing on here as the timer runs out on qualifying. We still have Goyong Jen, we still have Zarif Adam continuing, and Mohammad Shakir continuing to battle each other here. Look at that bit of bumping on the back there of Zarif Adam there from Anwar's car.
Well, that's not very kind to do it, especially it's on a road course. You don't want to hit this. You can see Zarif's on screen not wearing the Pepega jersey that he normally wears because he just came back from a meeting in a club. So that's why he's looking a bit preppy and formal. It looks as though he has old money fashion.
Whoa! Oh! Spins it out there.
And unfortunately, old money will come to play there. He has to pay for that damage.
Well, I mean, it's the virtual world, so probably got to pay with virtual credits there. And that, I think, also ends the lap there for 53 Anwar. Thiran Iranga, though, has made his way up into second place. A Sri Lankan driver currently on a very good run here.
Yeah, only 100 behind, and he has only a few cars in front. They're not close enough to actually cause trouble for him. So, if he actually nails the final couple of corners, we did say just now his first sector looks pretty steady, but he saved this time somewhere, and guess what? He pulled it out of the hat here. Now, let's see whether or not he can actually get it onto pole position. This will definitely put a spanner through as Vernon Blair right in front of him in the track esports car goes wide. He's in P5, so great run for Vernon. But here comes Tehan Heranga coming through turn 10. Now 11. Where is he going to be coming across the line? Couple more cars going out of the way, including Hayden Choi into the pit. Out on the final corner he comes. Can he actually snatch pole from Justin Roldev? No, yes he can! Wow! 10.5 ahead of Justin Roldev, would you believe it? Tehan Iranga steals the 5 points away, and the Sri Lankans have gone completely mad.
Oh boy, all chat is just on fire right now. Thanks to Tehan Iranga taking pole position for the bronze class in round number 2. A fantastic showing here for the Sri Lankan. Let's see how he's going to convert this into a win here potentially on Watkins Glen. So that is the end of qualifying now. That's Teran Iranga and Justin Raudev sharing that front row here. And we'll see how race number 1 here for our bronze class will unfold. So GT3 cars, all of these cars have the same power output. The main difference between them is a slight difference in their spec, as in their suspension specs. Some of these cars are a little bit wider, some of these cars are a little bit narrower, and some of these cars are slightly different tire sizes, but all in all, it makes for a very exciting racing series here, and a perfect environment here for our ERGP bronze class drivers here to show us what they've got.
Indeed. And to prove your point just now what you said about the BCRC GT3 cars, here's the Mercedes, here's a Mustang. The size difference, as you can see, Zarif right behind. Yeah,
right there.
But underneath, according to the mod makers, it's about the same, so we'd have to do the BOPs. But as you can see there, the class of cars, this class of car is being dominated by mostly Mercedes and Fords, incidentally, in there, with a couple of BMWs right there or thereabout. But Shakir Fitri will be happy with his work so far. P4, points on the board once again, and the cute and funny livery has actually got him up to P4.
Yeah, indeed he has. I mean, what we're seeing, majority of the top 10 here. In fact, I think 7 of these cars out of 10 are all AMGs. You got a single BMW there in the form of Jeremy Yao in 6th place. Then you also got 53 as well as Shah, both running the Mustangs here inside the top 10. So that's always great to see that diversity going on here. But even if you look further down, like into the 15th place, 16 and 17, they're all Mustangs going on here. It's like a lot of like, I mean, they're both V8s, aren't they, right? Like, the Mustang is a V8. The AMG GT is also a V8, so it's V8 power going on here.
Well, it doesn't say, doesn't get any more Murican than good old V8, even if it is in a German shell.
Yeah, true.
I mean,
although I think like there's like 2 different types of V8s, right? There's the type with the planar crankshaft, and there's also the one where it's like perpendicular. So they have slightly different like timings involved in there, even though they both have the same cylinders and the same layout, isn't it?
Although we're not going to talk about push rod power because that's NASCAR.
That's NASCAR for sure.
Push rod's completely different out of the question. And if you put a push rod in a car like this, well, they're going to sound really fantastic, one, but they're going to have a lot of power being generated. As you can, a bit of history. Why push rod's banned in IndyCar was because Penske, and they bought it to Indianapolis. It was so dominant. Top 3 was dominated in qualifying by Penske in that Mercedes 500i engine, which they call the Monster, or something like that. I think it was called the Monster, but whatever it is, that's why push rod is not allowed here. It's only in NASCAR they allow it. So a whole grid of push rod cars, that's the way to do it. But either way, history lesson aside, this is going to be where Iranga is going to see the whole field kind of come through into turn number 1. Now, that run-up, is he able to hold on to it? We'll wait and see. Lights are going to come on the gantry now. And when they go out, we're going to go underway for bronze. Race number 1 for round 2. And we are underway here for the first race. It looks as though, oh no! A car has already been turned backwards. It's Judy Nino Gonzalez. Gonzalez has been knocked up, but whatever it is, we're not going to mind that now because Justin Roldev gets the whole shot into turn number 1. Kirin goes around the outside though. Shake Fitri hangs it with Tehan Iranga as they come up through the S's for the very first time. But amazingly, a car has already spun around even before the race started. This is going to be the big question here. Are we going to see yet more carnage coming through the S's?
Well, I mean, given what we've seen already from the copper class, I think the chances that are pretty high, although this is another breed of drivers that we have here in the bronze class. So far, still a lot of jostling. You can see Jeremy Yao has moved up into 5th place, trying to find a way through the gaggle of cars that currently sit in 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Now you're seeing both Terran Iranga as well as Street Fitri go side by side. Bit of contact going on in the midfield there, but these front pack of cars continuing to stay side by side here. Both the Sri Lankan and the Malaysian continuing to fight each other now for that 3rd place. Iranga now having his nose slightly ahead coming out this corner. I think he should be able to stay in 3rd place for now.
We're going to watch with Jeremy out here. He's going to have the best seat in the house because he is in P6 right now. Coming up to the bottom of the hill at the end of the boot. This is the toe. Ooh,
nice.
The heel, sorry. The heel of the boot, and he gets it by Azib Shami. So Azib's going very safe. In fact, someone's not being safe. There is Rezwan Shah, another one of the handshake drivers. He's gone off.
Yeah, a bit unfortunate there. Jeremy Yao, though, managed to move up 2 places from the start now, and he's already on the verge of touching the podium position, but that's being held by Theran Iranga, the guy who matched qualifying in pole earlier on. Let's see whether or not he'll be able to hang on here on his position. Jeremy Yao continue to keep the pressure on, although he is himself getting pressure by Mokhtar just behind him.
Yeah, we're going to stay with this top 5 for now. In fact, a bit of a change in position because between the two Pavega guys, I'm not sure if it's team orders or that was pure pace from Elliot Stevenagel. He managed to come through, and this Minnesota lad, yes, he is from Minnesota, but he's living in Malaysia. He's been all over the place. He even grew up in Hong Kong at one point, racing so well here, and this is his first proper race in ERGP. Now he's going to get bomb dropped by Zarif, and I think that is actually up to plan because they're trying to get away from Amir Rafiq and Vernon Blair in 9th and 10th, respectively.
Yeah, as Marcus Lacambra said, could take advantage of those bump drops, especially on the very, very long back straight that we have here on Watkins Glen. So that is certainly a strategy that is very much approved here by us at eRGP. But for now, the two of them will have to stay in that 7th position. They have plenty of places to try to make up here, and you already see just behind them, I think it's Afiq, maybe? Amir Afiq right now getting pressured here by Philippines' Vernon Ablir. And right now, he's the only one holding back this one Filipino driver here. And wow, he's just making his life so difficult right now, isn't it? Trying to force him almost onto the grass there. He tries to go around the outside. Cannot quite find the speed though. Amir Afiq continues to stay ahead.
Yeah, but I think that's well within reason, isn't it? Because he did move once. It was up to Vernon if he could try and overtake him afterwards. So he tried to go a long way around. It didn't work that time around. But certainly, battle is still on here between these guys on the fringes of the top 10. Still in the points, and for Vernon, he will be on pole position for that 2nd race. And that is all important for him, as behind them, Testa Elok, who is up in the top 5 in the championship, fighting with Niraj Yashan, another one of the fast Sri Lankans. The really rapid guys here from Sim Racing Lanka. No, they touch! Oh! And Elok goes around. Well, Now that will be an inquiry for the stewards. Luckily, though, he gets out of the way just in time before Shahrul Amri and the rest of the field come by here. Wow, everyone's going to use the escape road there.
Yeah, but Elo's lost a lot of positions because of that contact. That's definitely going to be rounds for a review here by the stewards, so we'll leave it up to them to try to figure out who exactly was at fault there. In the meantime, Theran Iranga, his Sri Lankan compatriot, is now back on the heels of Fitfatri Anwar, trying his level best to stay as close as possible.
Oh, and the car goes off there, the Potofu Mobile. Yeah, that's the name of the girl, by the way, if anyone wants to find who she is. Coming off turn number 4, literally he was trying to hang it out there. And turn number 5, mercifully though, he kept it together, but lost a bit of ground to Justin Raldev. And Justin, it will be vindication for him after what was an offbeat first round. He will be lapping all the way to the bank and probably has to make sure after what happened to Donny Sadewa that he counts the laps.
Well, we'll have to see how that will turn out. In the meantime, the Ford Mustang is still hanging on pretty nicely, though. Iranga still staying within a tenth of a second behind. You can still see Justin Raul Dev hasn't really been able to pull away that much. Still about 1 second away from Anwar's car, so certainly a touchable lead there, I would say, coming from Justin Raul Dev. But I think that's also mostly because Iranga hasn't really pulled all the moves quite yet here. He's getting tantalizingly close, though, getting a slipstream now on the main straight, but not really getting a lot of speed going to turn 1, though.
Yeah, again, we have to stress the point that the cars are almost equal somewhat in terms of pace, so that's why the race, you can see the intervals there. Everyone's within a second of each other at least, so there's battles going everywhere around the track. But the main difference is how you take the corners and whether or not you can get on the throttle quicker, because again, slipstream helps, like this one, coming up to the back of Shakir Fitri, and looks as though Kirin is not putting up much of a defense this time around, because he can tell the Merc, when it's in the slipstream, is much faster than the Mustang, but the Mustang somehow is much better through the corners. And you can see there, case in point, he hangs it around the outside. He has to take the escape road here on the curb just so he could give enough space, and credit to where it's due. He did give plenty of space to Tehan.
Yeah, it looks like it'll be a continuation of this battle there. This Anwar is able to get himself back in front of Theran Iranga. Theran, though, is not going to be leaving him there for too long, though. Tries to have a peek around the outside, goes for the switchback, doesn't feel a lot of gap.
Oh, no!
A touch has unfortunately spun him around as Kirin now faces the wrong side of the road. Iranga goes through. Anwar, by the time recovers, is coming out in P9.
Oh no, that is so unfortunate for Shakir Fitri, and he is now outside of the top 10. But you have to say, Tehan should have probably backed out of there, because he knew full well he was not going to be able to accelerate with the Mustang right in front of his face. And what was a promising podium position for Shakir Fitri has now gone up in smoke. But at least the consolation is he can try to overtake the other Sri Lankan, incidentally his teammate to Tehan Iranga, to take pole position for race number 2 and try to save face. So at least he's got that going for him.
Yeah, well, that's something at least, but man, he was already up in the podium positions there, and just so unfortunate that Iranga had to knock him right at the back there. That's definitely not a very legal move in my mind here, but nevertheless, the race will continue. Iranga continuing on his onslaught right now. This time, Azim Shami Mokhtar is in his crosshairs. He's now going to try around the outside here. Azim Shami Mokhtar, very cognizant about his positioning here, keeps a lot of space around the outside, so Theran Iranga is able to stay alongside him through this back straight. Now coming into the next turn here, Theran Iranga is going to have to cut around the outside here, under braking. Is he going to be able to find enough speed there in the AMG GT behind you? Both of these are exactly the same cars underneath, though, so it's not going to be much differential between the two. Theran Iranga now takes the inside on the next turn, but the Pepeka Racing drivers continues to stay on the outside, onto the curbing, and stays alongside him throughout the 2 corners.
And look at Azim Shami with the mic on his face, so he's almost having like my setup, where I have an AT 2020 mic to talk as clear as possible, but I think he's got it right with his face so that we don't lip read what he says afterwards if there's an accident.
Probably asking chat for their support right now to ensure that he stays ahead of Theran Iranga and stays in P2. For now, he's doing a bang-up job of that, and the whole time while they're both fighting, now finally Justin Raldev is able to get a good lead ahead of him. 3.2 seconds now for our current race leader, 6.5 minutes remaining in race number 1.
Yeah, and he could thank his lucky stars that time around that the guys behind actually were the ones that whacked him as opposed to him getting whacked. But Iranga, again, you might say that it was the old bump and run. He tried to just nudge it a bit, but he might have nudged Shakir Fitri way too much. And where is he right now? P10. So at least again, he's gotten that 10th place. He has Vernon Blair, who was up in that top 10, has dropped out of it. So Vernon is the one that's the latest victim of probably an accident.
Yeah, I think Jeremy Yao is currently locked in the battle with Ngo Young Jin right now. The two drivers fighting here for 4th and 5th respectively. As right now Jeremy Yao is locked on to Ngo Young Jin just in front of him, keeping inside his slipstream, coming onto the back straight. This is a perfect position for him. Now he just needs to gain that speed differential here and try to convert this into a move. Looking like it's going to be around the outside of him. Look at that bumping tire to tire here as they try to get into the turn, navigating it. Whoa, just literally staying with the elbows touching each other right now as he try to stay on the racing line. Now Jeremy Yao tries to go for the dive again. Ngo Young Jin still keeping a lot of good speed through that corner though, so he is able to stay ahead for now. Yeah,
but you might say that Jeremy Yao with the really funny livery, I had to say, no read and drive, that's probably for the guy behind. There was probably nothing funny about the way they were touching there, because it could have gone absolutely hair-raisingly wrong if a collision happened, and they're going at it again here, coming up to the heel of the boot. On the way to the exit, Jeremy still cannot get by here, but the BMW is looking much racier compared to the Mercedes at this point.
I mean, it's just sniffing the exhaust fumes coming out of that AMG GT, the big nostrils of that M4, just sucking all that air in right now to try to power those rear tires here, trying to make sure that he stays alongside or at least within touching distance of Ngo Young Jin through this section here, coming up to the final turn. The main straight is coming up next. This could be another opportunity to strike, but watch out behind though. I think Stuart Nagel is looking for an opportunity. He's going to make it a 3-wide battle to T1.
And the American on home soil goes already inside. Can he make it 2 for 1? He dives in on Jeremy Yao. Side by side he goes. Well, that's a surprise. And there comes Zarif Adam as well for good measure. There's Elliott. He takes it. Stuart Nagel goes up to P5. And that shows his mental. He knows his racecraft here. And he knows Watkins Glen quite well too. So really, it helps that local knowledge came to play there.
Well, the trouble's not over for Jeremy Yao as now Shazli is continuing to keep him hounded throughout the back straight. He's now alongside, going to be around the outside for this next turn though. Jeremy Yao can still defend nicely though, but can he hold the speed? He is trying his very best right now to close the door, but Adam is still able to keep his nose slightly ahead. Now he has the inside going to this next turn. The brakes glowing red right now as Jeremy Yao attempts to outbrake his rival. He stays ahead of Zarif Adam for now, stays in that 6th position, and now wants to try to bring the fight to the American.
Yeah, but Stuart Nagel definitely is going to be up for it, because after a move like that, you know that confidence is going to be running high for him, and you can see he's latched onto the back of Ngo Young Jin, and he wouldn't want to whack him because they both live, well, they both are in the same country, in the same airspace. So somebody might come into their house tonight and just say, well, what do you do that for? It's not like if he's in America, he can get away with that one. He's right here. But anyway, Zarif Adams watching brief out of all of this. Amazingly, we still have 3 minutes left to go.
I know.
So much has happened, and yet we still have one more race after this.
I know, it's just crazy so far, this Global Edition number 16. The level of drama, the level of action that we've been seeing in these first 2 rounds has just been nothing short of brilliant. Jeremy Yao now having to run up against Elliott. He's going to try to go around the outside of Stuart Nagel this time. Cannot quite find the speed though, has tucked in behind the AMG GT. Whereas Jeremy Yao in that M4 continues to try to find another peek around the inside. This time around, he has the positioning, but the next turn will still favor Elliott though, and I think Jeremy Yao might still find him just tucked in behind, although he is keeping within this, within alongside going onto the back straight. So Elliott and Jeremy continuing to battle each other out. It could be anyone's turn right here coming up next. And Jeremy Yao, of course, being on the inside, might be able to find his way through, but not if Elliott finds more speed around the outside. Up into the track there goes Nero Yeshando. A little bit of an excursion there for the Sri Lankan as Stuart Nagel continues to stay ahead of Jeremy Yao even after all those challenges.
I'm surprised. The Mercedes looked like it was the faster car, but then the BMW is even faster than that. So we're seeing a bit of a pattern. The Mercedes is the all-rounder, the BMW is fast on the straights, and the Mustang, surprisingly, is faster through the corners. So it's a bit of a turnaround on its head. We can normally say that the guys from Europe have the best cornering ability, but here we go. Horsepower means more for the Europeans this time, while the Americans have gotten the European way of doing it.
Well, how the tables turn, doesn't it? Look at that one more not Jeremy Yao. No, he spins out. He spins out. An attempt to make a move onto Elliot Stuernagel. Stuernagel continues on in 5th place, but Jeremy drops down out of the points here. This is disastrous here for Jeremy Yao. 1 minute remaining in this race here, and already he finds himself beached out of the points.
And the emojis on his car may be, yep, like that. It's indicative of how he's feeling right now. Oh, he's definitely not gonna like that one if he looks at it again after this. But meanwhile, we're hopefully, no, in fact, we're definitely gonna have 2 laps after this. Remember what happened to Donis today?
Yep.
You have to look at the lap counter. It says leader has 2 laps to go. It's a bit of a special feature on this circuit for some reason. I don't have the other circuits. As you can see, wow, we caught that in time. Justin Raldev tapping the steering wheel. He was trying to say, okay, wheel, don't fail on me now. He's got a nice piece of kit, even if it is now out of circulation though, because the SimMagic M10, in fact, the M10 is not in circulation anymore in terms of maintenance, but it's still working well for him, and he's being wheeled on here, no doubt, by Ashish Shako, who's sitting right beside him.
Yeah, it's gonna be Justin Raldev's first win here, I believe. Well, at least for this season of eRGP, so he certainly could be happy with that, especially when he came so close to it. He qualified pole position in round 1, but failed to convert that into even a podium for him. So this time around, I think the luck is starting to come around here for Justin Raldev. Meanwhile, still a battle going on here. Right now, we're looking at this 19th place battle where Haziq Aslan is trying to head off one of the McLarens here, and he's being held off a little bit by the BMW in front. So, a bit of a tussle going on. I mean, still, there's always going to be racing out in this track no matter what. It's just, you know, when you're out in this position here, it's usually going to be a point of pride, really, trying to make these passes work for yourself. But I believe we should be approaching the last lap now. We can see the last lap marker is already out as Justin Raldev comes across the line. So this is going to be it, the final opportunity for all these drivers to settle their battles.
And indeed, in fact, we're focusing on this right now because if anyone's asking, is that another Aslan? We had Naki, we had Nabil, we had Nazmi, and we had even the eldest brother, Nazri Racing. Well, newsflash, this is not a 5th Aslan. This is actually a completely different name. So no relation to them and no relation to yours truly because it has the name Haziq in there as well. So no, this is not a combination of both families. So it just happens to be that there's an Aslan in here as well. So moving on.
I mean, you got 30 odd drivers inside here. Of course, you're going to be finding some funny coincidences going on here in terms of naming. But Stuernagel has just been passed by Afiq. No, they're still battling each other right now for 6th position here. Stuernagel currently under pressure here from Amirul Afiq. He was up in 6th position earlier. Now Afiq running inside. A bit of contact on the inside there. It's Amirul Afiq moves up into 6th place. Elliot is definitely not going to be taking that line down. Still got a couple more corners to go here as we come into this next sector. Amirul Afiq, though, he is looking very, very clean on that corner, though. So Elliot's going to have to find some creative ways, I think, of being able to get past back.
Yeah, all the while then we will watch out what happens with this battle towards the end, as we're gonna see Justin now coming up to the point of the corners. Oh no, Elliot! Elliot! Oh, he just hung on to that round of cowboy. Even though he's from Minnesota, nowhere near Texas, but still, rode it like a Texan. Anyway, out of the final corner then comes Justin Raldev. Redemption for a disappointing first round by his standards. Comes across the line. Yes, he's been bumping. You can see, you have to lip read. He is absolutely over the moon with that one. You can see, wow. Contortionist almost that he is. Oh, he's beyond that chuffed right now. As the rest of the field comes across the line. 2nd place is Tehane Ranga. Another podium for the SRL guys. 3rd is Azishami Mokhtar. Makes it a Papega 1-3. Youngjan 4th. Zarif Adam 5th. 6 is Amir Rafiq. 7 will be Elliot Stuernagel in his first proper run in eRGP. 8 is Shakir Fitri, recovering after a half spin, be taken up by Tehane Ranga. We will see what the stewards require with that. Chester Elock in 9th, and is at least one of the Track Esports guys making it to the top 10. And Nirosh Yeshan finishes 10th, who will start on pole position for the 2nd race.
Yeah, great showing here for Sim Racing Lanka, able to get 2 of their drivers inside of the points. The Terran Erananga definitely getting a lot of
Iranga, yes.
Eranga, sorry, getting a lot of the credit here for his from his fellow compatriots in the chat right now. A lot of celebration going on as he takes the second spot here for the bronze class first race. So we're going to be resetting now to get into our second race. Remember, it's going to be a reverse grid for the first 10 finishers for race number 1. So that will put Justin Rao Dev into 10th place. And on that note as well, look at you just see the emotional outburst he had, as he comes across the line. Man,
he curled up. He literally curled up. I think he is overcome with emotion because he knows that first round he should have actually made the most of the pace that he had, but unfortunately luck wasn't on his side. But this one, he had the pace, he had the luck, he made it both work, and he is way over the moon with that one. So congratulations to Justin. We will definitely have a word with him after this if we could, because that was a huge show of emotion. He has been in the commentary box before, how he can actually articulate his words. Maybe this time he may not be able to get words together here after this.
Well,
but, yeah,
we'll see. We'll see later on. We still have one more race to go here in the bronze class. I mean, again, so much stuff has happened already in that first race. This crazy thing. We still have to do it one more time here. This time with the reverse grid being applied. So it's still going to be another 15 minutes here out on Watkins Glen. We're going to be seeing the top 10 finishers of race number 1 get reversed now for race number 2. So I think that's going to be seeing a lot more. The Mustangs up in front this time around. I mean, the AMG GD3s have sort of been very dominant right now. I mean, the top 7 finishers, I think, are all AMGs actually. So, I mean, again, it just goes to show how much of a weapon of choice it is for these top drivers right now to use these AMG cars. But the fact that I'm still seeing the Mustangs continue to tangle up with them, although in the case of Kirin, aka Anwar, definitely didn't tangle that well there, especially going up against Eranaga. But Eranga, sorry, I keep messing up. And apologies to all the Sri Lankan viewers out there.
Eramanga Sensei. Yes, I think you were thinking of an anime for a second.
Yeah,
but
perhaps.
Yes, perchance.
Perchance. But yeah, it's still going to be up to the racing gods, as it were, here, how round number 2 will turn out now that we got the reverse grid being applied here. So this could be another chance here for Anwar to try to regain some good points. I mean, again, that contact he had with Iranga was certainly one that's going to be reviewed by the stewards. Don't know yet at this point how that will turn out, but certainly may not doesn't. It's not really a good look for Eranga, I should say. So perhaps Anwar will be able to take this opportunity now, starting on the front row, to perhaps regain some good points here for the points that he lost out on in race number 1.
Yep, but Nirosh will be the first one to be taking the start lights. He is teammates, of course, with Terran Iranga. So for Kirin, it's a case of deja vu. Same car color, same team, same nationality as well, but different drivers. So he'll have to face his fears on this one. Chester Elok, the first of the Filipinos, and Track Esports will be happy to at least have him right there. And of course, Kirin, just now we highlighted in 3rd place. Behind him, Elliot Stevenagel and Amir Rafiq complete your top 5 that start this race. As the rest of the field now will be ready to get the lights on here. And when we go out, we will be underway for the final time tonight for bronze. And it looks as though it's a good start for Elok. He actually got it off the line quite well. And here comes Nirosh Yeshan coming to defend against Shakir Fitri. No! Oh, Elok gets taken out. Yeshan, unfortunately, has done the same thing as Tehan Iranga, misses out on the brakes, and that allows the rest of the field to come by. So the Filipinos will be absolutely miffed of that one. But Shakir Fitri will not mind that one bit. He takes the early lead in front of Amir Rafiq and Zarif Adam.
Yeah, Shakir Fitri able to capitalize on this opportunity, but it's not quite over yet. It looks like a 3-way here. Zarif Adam goes alongside Shazli, goes alongside Anwar as they attempt to try to battle it out on the bottom end of Watkins Glen. Oh boy, very tight situation here, but you can see that Shakir Fitri is still able to stay ahead of the AMG so far. Fantastic driving there in the Mustang.
Wow, it proved the point earlier that we said that the Mustang actually is so good for the corners that you can just hang it in. But the Mercedes, though, the horsepower on the straights is why the top 7 was dominated by them in that first race. But whatever it is, Shakir Fitri lives to fight another lap.
Yeah, but he's going to have to fight in every single corner here because he knows he has a disadvantage when it comes to these straights. So as long as he can build up a good gap here, perhaps there will be a bit of a saving grace, but we're still very early on into this race. He doesn't want to use up those tires unnecessarily in order to try to keep ahead of these AMGs, and there are a lot of AMGs now waiting in the wings just behind him.
And one of them is Ellis Steurenagel. Look at that. He's actually fighting now with Nirosh and Tehan Iranga. So Iranga has actually not made that much up in that first race as he tries to dive one here. Well, some of the other drivers, including Julio Nino Gonzalez, who was the first, not even the first corner. He literally just got 20 meters off the line and was spun around. So maybe he didn't get the best of launches in the first time. Luckily, though, this second time, he managed to get it up all the way to P10. Wow, he made it all the way from the right to the back. As now we will just slow the tempo a bit and hopefully we can brace ourselves for what could be an absolute doozy in the next half of this race.
I mean, everyone is still within a second of each other right now, even in this third minute of the race here. This is Azib Sharmi Mokhtar right now trying to go around the outside of the two Sri Lankans. Now is going to be taking onto the back straight here. And you can see sandwich between the two red and black cars right now. Now he's going to try to take a peek on the inside here of Yeshan. Now he's going to try to get alongside. Cannot quite find a position though. So Neros Yeshan still is able to stay ahead of the Malaysian here. Edit Steurenagel in the meantime trying to put some moves on the Terran Iranga around the outside. He has to be very careful around these parts here. Can be very easy to come into contact here, especially on a part of this track. It's rather narrow, and the banking certainly doesn't make things any easier here, especially on the exit.
Is Ellie actually is racing in America, I think, because it looks like it's at daytime, but whatever it is, Steurenagel is doing an absolutely fantastic job in his first outing in the ERGP. Trying to pull the moves, as you said, on Tehan Iranga, and it's a battle between Papegas and Sim Racing Lankans in this one. Well, at least the team element is coming to play, isn't it? When everyone has their own custom livery, we can tell who's who in this one. And it's amazing, isn't it, that the team aspect is what drives everyone to drive real hard here. As coming up now to the end of the second lap, we're on our third lap right now. Looks like up in front, there's a bit of a big battle brewing here coming into turn number one. As we now see, looks as though Shazli, yes, Zarivadam, no, he's been overtaken by Justin. So Justin has gone up to P3. He wants to make it a double here. As meanwhile, more and more cars go for the behind there. Side by side, coming up through the S's between Yongjan and Azim Shami Mokhtar. And these guys don't want to hit each other because they're on good terms. The Red Pack Asia team and the Papegas, they're trying to work together as opposed to trying to battle each other. But that's how it has transpired right now. Onto the back straight. Coming up now to the outer loop. Who's it gonna be here? Gonna yield.
Oh! Massive contact between the three as the Sri Lankan gets sandwiched between the two Malaysians, and I think it looks like Mokhtar.
Oh no!
And Neos Deshan catches just stray as he attempts to rejoin the race.
Well, I did say just now who's gonna yield. Well, two people yielded the absolute worst possible thing. They actually pulled out the short straw, would you believe it? So there goes Nerosh Yashan's opportunity to finish in the top 10 in this second race. As meanwhile, Yongjan actually is now having a lot of people for company. Here comes Jeremy Yao on the outside. Jeremy once again showing why the BMW is the bigger of the two Germans, trying to trying to Frankfurt him out of the way. I was about to say sausage and beef, but because they're Germans, I think Frankfurt is the closest we can say. Out of the way.
Sauerkraut, maybe.
Oh, Hamburg.
Oh, Hamburg.
Yeah, but Hamburg out of the way there. As Nino Gonzalez! Oh no! Oh, Gonzalez! He was just up in the top 10. Would you believe it? He unfortunately just got into Yongjan's way, and there's more of the accidents coming through. We're only just in the third lap. Would you believe it? As I think Nerosh Yashan unfortunately has to retire from the race. Way too much damage and he can go through as Yongjan crashes again! Oh no! It's gone horribly wrong for Yongjan.
I think massive damage there. Oh, T-boned once again. I think his race might just be done here. Holy cow.
Oh, and someone flips. Someone
flipped out completely. Yoyun teleports into the pits. I think he might just be done. And as we looking at this, the carnage is happening here. Look at it. Joe came about. Yeah, his rear suspension's completely gone here. He has to teleport back into the pits here.
It was Joel. That was Joel who was actually flipping in the air after he hit Yongjan. So Yongjan became a launch board. So That's just disastrous, isn't it? You feel for these guys. And again, I did say earlier that the Papega team and the Red Pair Asia guys were on good terms. That might need some talking to after this.
Even Chad is like shocked and chagrined at the chaos we just witnessed earlier on, but at least for the Sri Lankans, they can be proud of the fact that Darren Iranga has been able to stay up on top here and still continuing to stay on Zarif Adams' car here, trying to fight for that 4th position. So at least Sri Lanka may have still a dog in this race here. But nevertheless, you know, 4 laps already, and we had so much chaos, so much drama now that, man, it's just a wonder that some of these drivers are still able to continue on, though, despite all of that.
Indeed, but for the Papega guys, they had all 4 of their main boys in there. Azit Shami, unfortunately, was the biggest casualty out of all that, because he really, with Yongjan, he should have actually avoided him easily, but unfortunately Yongjan went out of there and just really whacked into him, so it's unfortunate it had to happen, but again, that's how the cookie crumbles sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes that's just how it is, and nevertheless, you know, the race must continue. So Darren Iranga now up into 4th now against Zarif Adam, who's still ahead of him, but now sitting in the podium position. Wonder which car actually dropped out there to allow them to both move through, or maybe it's just a slight error in the timing tower, but nevertheless...
Yeah, because it says Hakim just now. Hakim is unfortunately not part of this. Adam Hakim, so he's teleporting here and there because the timing loop cannot detect him. He is in limbo, basically.
Oh, look at that. Round the outside, though, goes Darren Iranga to try to catch Zarif Adam, and he does catch it at the end. Darren Iranga, the Sri Lankan, now up into the podium here. Now his next target here might just be Justin Raul Dev.
Ooh, and there's a bit of barbs in between some of the drivers sometimes, and for Justin, he has mentioned before that Tehan is simply one of those guys that he has to watch out for because he is absolutely rapid, but sometimes maybe a little bit crazy in his racing. It happens sometimes, collisions. It happens to the best of us, so he just has to watch his nose this time to avoid going into the steward's boots again. Yeah,
so Justin Raul Dev is still 1 second clear of Tehan Iranga. Let's see how that will hold up as this continues on. I think Jeremy Yao is starting to put some moves now onto the American here, as Stuart Nagel is only about 0.4 of a second ahead of Jeremy Yao. That's a very close battle going on there for 6th position. And now we are on board with the sniffer, as it were.
Door on the side.
Yep. the door is definitely on the side of this car here for sure. But Jeremy Yao has been trying to catch the slipstream into Stuart Nagel for quite a while now. Look at him keeping nice and stable as he comes through turn 1 right now. He's absolutely on it here.
Who was that? That was Lashman Ilacherin who went off big time. So he managed to find a bit of time around the outside in turn number 1 there, because again, NASCAR even decreed that that's not even a track limit, so you can't actually use as much, and we are following the American way of doing it, at least.
The American way, for sure. As I said, you know, when in Rome.
Well, when in New York, because we are in upstate New York, not far away from the main capital.
Which is actually wild to me, because I always thought that Watkins Glen was out somewhere in Midwest America, but well,
no, it's up east. It's up in the east.
Up in the east side, yeah.
We're actually closer to what, Arlington, Virginia, than we are to Los Angeles.
Right, it's crazy. I mean, that's, my knowledge of American geography is not that great to begin with, to be fair. Oh, nice move there, Jeremy, but couldn't quite find the speed on the exit, though, as a Pega rate of Elliott Stuart Nagel still able to stay ahead, and Jeremy almost lost it on the exit there. So he's going to have to put this battle on ice for now. Let's see whether or not he'll be able to pick it up later on. 5 minutes still remaining here, guys. The final race of Bronze Class Round 2.
Yeah, it looks as though with the early exchanges that we saw just now, Kieran has managed to pull out almost a 4-second lead ahead of the rest of Mercedes. So the Ford survived this one, and how he will love it to actually win this second race this season after what we can safely say he survived the initial skirmishes, and that top 10 finish was so crucial into why he is now winning this. So at least for him, he will still maintain the lead over the championship, but that man in second place might be his main rival for the season. Justin Raul Dev.
That's the thing. So, I mean, again, it's a marathon, right? Not a sprint. So, individual victories, of course, the first round victory is always the most important of any championship run. But with what Kirin has been able to do here in race number 2, perhaps he might be able to set himself up to continue to extend his lead. That's if he comes back in first place with that checkered flag. Elliot Studenagel right now under pressure here for Jeremy Yao. Jeremy taking the slipstream, not able to find the speed, unfortunately. So it looks like Elliot can continue to stay ahead of him through this sector. Well, we'll see how this will turn out, though, because I don't think Jeremy Yao will be leaving it that long. Tries to go by that dive on the inside of Elliot. Didn't quite find the space, though. So still tucked in behind the 6th place man.
Yeah, but the Minnesotan really is doing quite well in his defense. And credit to where it's due. It looks as though he just took like a duck to water with the way that he's driving these guys. Because again, I think it's his first time driving with a majority of these drivers, but he's doing it so well that it's almost like he's raced it for a few seasons. And once again, good car placement here as one of his friends, I think Spud260 with the Shrek icon, really saying that he's placing his car quite nicely. And you're right to point that out. He's putting it where it really frustrates Jeremy right now. So if the guy in the BMW wants to get by right now, he really has to pull something out of the hat to get the better of Studenagel.
Yeah, still pushing so hard against him right now, even up until the final corner here. Now onto the main straight. Can he get the draft this time around to make that difference? Because he needs that speed differential in order to try to make a move around the outside. He's attempting to set it up, cannot quite find the speed on entry though. So Elliot still stays ahead. Fantastic defending though, I have to say, for the Minnesotan. While in the meantime, Justin Rauldev now under pressure here from Teran Iranga. The Sri Lankan now having his sights set on trying to get past Justin this time around so he can continue his battle with Fitri Anwar up in front. Still trying to stay alongside. He's going to have to take the long way around. Justin Rauldev around the inside has to keep up the speed, though, if he wants to stay in that 2nd place. But I think by the time we get the exit, Iranga is able to get himself ahead now. He's up in the 2nd place. Justin Rauldev tries to counterattack from the outside, loses control a little bit on the entry, but is still able to stay on his tail nevertheless.
But for how long is Tehan going to hold that 2nd place? And the more they fight, the more they're going to lose touch to Kirin up in front. Shake Fitri has gotten this race more or less taken, but Tehan with a good overtaking maneuver. Now he has to do defending of his own here against Justin Rauldev. Justin thinks about the outside, but I don't think he has enough of a line even to try to get by that time. But he might be thinking of a switchback here coming up back to the exit of the boot.
Yeah, well, he's going to back out a little bit. Teran Iranga just hugging that inside line, not giving any gap at all. Justin loses his tail end on the exit, so that's going to lose him quite a bit of time now to Teran. A big gap that was wider between the two, the 0.3 of a second. That might all but make it difficult here for him to get a slipstream on the main straight, but dang it, he's going to try nevertheless.
Going full American there for a second. Yeah, dang nabbit. But definitely Justin will have it on his mind right now that Tehan's done the same thing. He slides it mid-corner, but luckily the rear catches back together before it meets the front. And for Iranga, that is 2nd place now, for the time being settled. But this long back straight, maybe Justin's saving grace.
Just maybe. I mean, now he's getting a bit of slipstream here, so that's going to help him, especially once again on the back straight. He's getting a lot of momentum now. Justin Rauldev is. He's going to have to make the move around the outside here as Teran Iranga takes a very defensive positioning before the entry of this next turn. Justin does have the speed. He's going to try his very best to stay ahead of him throughout this whole turn here. The next one could be the crucial one here because that's where he will have the advantage. That will be where he's going to be able to confirm the 2nd place if he does, but Iranga comes around the outside, still is able to hang on for dear life, but Justin takes back his 2nd position either way.
Wow, great battling between the Malaysian and the Sri Lankan. Take a bow, guys. So far, so good. Even if it is detrimental to your races. Now, leader has 2 laps to go. So, if anyone wants to avoid what happened in the upper class just now with Donny Sadewa, they'll have to look up at least to the top of their screens and see that the lap counter has actually gone here. And in fact, you can see the lap counter is 8 out of 10, so race is fully not over just yet.
Not quite yet. It's still very much on the line here for everyone involved here. Last lap, it will be coming up after Anwar has already gone past the control line here. So that means it's still another lap of battling to go between both Justin Rauldev as well as Teran Iranga, as well as Lian Churan, who is actually past Jeremy Yao right now for 7th place. So that's another movement on the leaderboard here as Lakshman moves up with that Ford to join the train of AMG cars ahead of him.
Yep, that is another one of the handshake guys. In fact, majority of them are in bronze and copper with a lot, the huge number.
Oh.
Well, taking the more scenic route through the New York village. Yeah, it's weird to say, isn't it? Watkins Glen, they call it a village.
Yeah,
but yeah.
Eranga, I think, is getting very close to Justin this time around. Look at that. They're side by side now on the back straight as Eranga goes around the outside this time against Justin Rauldev. Justin, again, just has to keep the speed here, but I think Eranga has already cut him to the chase before the exit of the turn. So now it's back into third place here for Justin Rauldev. He's got these final few, this final lap, this final few sectors here in order to try to regain it. Now coming onto the toe of the boot here. It's going to attempt.
Oh no!
But it's end though. He slides a little bit. Still is able to stay on track though, so credit where it's due. He's still able to keep it under control, but dang, he nearly lost it there.
And look at that, more battles going on here. Elliot now has to hold on not only from Jeremy Yao, but he's got Lashman behind him. And this might be an even sterner proposition because the Ford is faster through the corners. Elliot goes very narrow. Jeremy goes on to the inside, and that might help him out big time here as they come out now to the exit of the boot section. That's P6 for Elliot, but coming around the final corner now, we have to focus on our race winner. There is Shakir Fitri driving for Handshake Sim Racing. Will come across the line here, take his second victory of the season to extend his championship lead. Eranga comes across the line in second place. What a fighter that he is, even if it came a little bit too close at times. Third is Justin Rauldev. Fourth is Zarif Adam, so at least Papegas have third and fourth on their books. Amir Afik for Red Pack in fifth. Elliot Stevenegger just across the line in sixth. Lushman 7. 8th is Kenny Lim, who has been quiet but managed to get out to the top 10. 9th is Ahmad Nurisan, and 10th is no, in fact, 9th is Jeremy Yao. 10th is Ahmad Nurisan, and Ahmad Nurisan with for Balapan's Random Motorsports. It's up to the name, isn't it? That was random.
That was random indeed.
Jumping through the air. He was in a close battle with James Ryan Malubai and Haziq Aslan, so that was very close between all three of them for the final points paying positions in the second race. But you can doff your hats to Shakir Fitri, who's looking more and more likely to be a championship contender here, Vic.
Oh man, if he actually finished well in that first race, I think he would have been able to extend that lead even further, actually. I mean, he's got so much speed, even in these Mustangs here, which, you know, as you can see, like most of the top of the grid is all dominated by AMG GTs. It's just Fitri's Mustang that kind of splits all of them out. So fantastic racing there for Kurian. That's his nickname online, by the way, of Anwar. But fantastic racing from him, and fantastic win here in race number 2. And what a way to cap off this bronze class round number 2 here. Well, it's crazy to think, like we've already now finished 2 classes. We still got another 2 classes to go after this here, man.
And it's the big main course, isn't it? It's the one that we're looking the most forward to. Bronze, we always say in season pass, is the one that delivers, but finally silver and gold has become now the main attraction once again because of the hypercars.
Hey.
Those prototypes, LMDH, LMH, GTP, hypercar, whatever you want to call it, because it goes by 4 different names, but ultimately they're all the latest generation of prototypes that can race on both sides of the Atlantic and around the world. That is ushering in the golden age of sports car racing in real life. But we get to see here what we can also say is a golden age for the gold and silver class, because the racing's been fantastic in the past couple of seasons, and can't wait to see how they go around Watkins Glen.
Indeed, they will. So, on that note, we'll be taking a short break. Congratulations once again to Justin Rauldev for winning race 1 and Fifichi Anwar for winning race number 2. We'll be right back after these messages to bring you guys the gold and silver class. So, stick around. We'll be right back after this break.
Pewter is about possibilities. It is an idea made real. Crafted with precision. It can make tradition timeless. Pewter evolves. When allowed to be free, it can captivate you. Pewter is our legacy, and we're keeping the legacy alive. Royal Selangor, since 1885.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to ERGP. We've got Justin on the line right now, looking very proud of yourself there, my man. Tell us, how are you feeling right now, man?
I'm ecstatic. Wait, you guys can hear me, right?
Yes, we can.
Oh, I'm ecstatic. You know, like, first round did not go well. I should have had the pace for the first round, but I just ended up fumbling it. And I came into the second round with a little bit more motivation. I decided to put in the laps, a lot of laps. You know, just watching onboards, getting tips from people, and it all culminated to a win. Oh, there we go. But
Hey.
got P2 as well. Yeah, so it's a good day for Pepega. Obviously ended up with the race win. I was thrilled about it. Yeah, Watkins.
Gosh.
You know, G13. We ran Watkins. It was I've been wanting to win at Watkins, and I finally got my Watkins win.
Well, you finally got it. I mean, just the outpouring of emotions I saw from the camera earlier as you came across the line. I mean, it must have felt such like a long time coming for you, isn't it?
Well, there's more to it. Why I was so, I was so ecstatic.
Right,
it was mainly
right.
because I was one lap short of fuel.
Oh.
So when the
no.
prompt came out, the leader has 2 more laps to complete. I was screaming. I was like, guys, I put in too little fuel. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? And it was just panic after panic. And basically at the end, I was just lifting and coasting. And the guy behind me, I think it was Tehan Iranga, he was catching. Basically, that was just me being relieved, and just a wave of emotions just came through. It was a shocker.
That's crazy, actually. Like, the thing that you were actually running on like thin air basically throughout the last lap of that's crazy. They actually managed to hold it in, man. But again, now they've gotten this win here, and you also got the podium as well for race number 2, so that's going to be a healthy amount of points for it. Do you think this is really going to be Pepega's year, rather Pepega's season as far as GE16 is concerned?
I mean, Pepega's been absolutely, they've been doing fantastically. I know Ethan and Asher and Umar Mokhtar, all 3 of them did fantastically in their copper class today. And also the last round as well, you can't discredit them for that. And obviously, we have Zarif and Elliot also scoring points as well. A lot of points as well as Azib. So I honestly think that this could be Pepega's season, and we're ready to dominate.
Oh, wow. Okay, man. I wish you all best of luck in the preceding rounds here in G16. Congratulations once again for picking up that win in round number 2, race 1, and we'll see more of you in the future.
Thank you so much, guys.
All right, cheers, man. And that is it for our bronze class here. So fantastic series of races we had here so far. But now it is time to come down to the main course, gold and silver class. This time around, we're going to be running multi-classes here. So there's going to be the gold class drivers going in the LMDH cars, whereas the LMP2 cars are going to be running in this race here. It's going to be held by the silver class drivers. Of that note, let's go ahead and have a look at the standings as it were right now. Starting with the gold class here, Glen Haki from Indonesia currently leading the drivers' standings here for gold class. He has managed to gain 8 points ahead of his fellow countryman Kazani Ramdhani right now, who is only sitting at 29 points, which puts him tied right now with Raja Amir Shaukat, the highest scoring Malaysian after round number 1 here. And Raja Amir has been fantastic even in the previous global edition in G15, so I'm hopeful to see whether that he'll be able to continue to bring this driver standing fight here to both the Indonesians.
Indeed, and the fact that for all these guys, they're actually fighting for the first time ever at the very sharp end. For Roy, I think he knows how it feels like to be there. For Raja, for Kanzani as well, he's also been up there. He's twice silver champion, but gold will be a feather his cap. And for Haki, first time he's led a championship as well. So many different storylines that we can put together in a plot thread, and you cannot discount any of those other guys outside of that top 5 either. Adam Harif, Jusmin, we're waiting to see whether or not what he can come up with in the second round. So many things to look forward to in this season.
Indeed. And now we move on to the silver class drivers. Muhammad Fauza Alim, also for Sri Lanka, is currently dominating the silver class after his amazing performance in round 1, able to beat Felix Young from Hong Kong right now by a clear amount of points there. I think that's about 8 points ahead of Felix Young right now. Alia Wafif Pirinata is able to put himself up into third there with 26 points to his name. And so far, I think in the silver class, we usually don't see a lot more of them, given that the gold class tends to have a lot more racing action that we normally pay attention to on these tracks. But the silver class drivers are no slouches either in that department, isn't it?
Indeed. And given the fact that for Felix Young and Dominic Poon, part of the Passionate team, they know what it's like to win as well. So for them to win in silver definitely puts their credentials that, okay, next season we see them in gold. They're ones to watch out for. Again, all these guys have an opportunity to win, and can't wait to see what Fazal Lim can do, because remember that first round where he got 45 points? Well, he won all the races and got pole position, so it was a clean sweep apart from getting the fastest laps. It would have been 49, it would have been a perfect day. But regardless, it was still a perfect day for him to get all 3 wins that day. So, one to watch out for in silver, Fazal Lim.
Right, so let's go ahead and jump on track right now where the qualifying has already begun here. You can see Handshake Racing's Cameron James right now, hailing all the way from East Malaysia, is currently having the faster lap here. I believe he has been able to set like a faster, first of the flying laps here. So we'll see whether or not they'll be beaten later on as the session progresses. We're seeing a lot more drivers now coming around the final sector here. Cameron James will of course be the first one to the control line. Let's see if he's going to be able to improve on his time right now. 131.008 comes across the set a 127.4, so that is the little benchmark now for everyone else. Roy Numera Perip moves up into the first place there at 125.6. Galangi Haki as well, also under the 126s here, getting up that second place. And Raja Mio Shaukat also in that mix of the top 3, looking very spry, but this time it's Ripper Rip who takes that provisional pole for now.
Well, you know, Rip being a quality specialist, he even set a record at one point to have 5 consecutive between 2 seasons pole positions. So he knows the thing into how to be fast over a single lap. But race-wise, he was a bit concerned at one point, especially with the cold tires in that previous interview we had with him, how the race pace wasn't really up to snuff for him. But regardless of that, he knows how to wheel the car around a lap, and he has proven to be the faster guy here. But Haki, though, behind him might get a slipstream and might just, if he gets it together here, just a bit crossed up for a second, snatch away the pole, because he's got a slipstream on the Ferrari in front.
Exactly, Haki's definitely representing one of the bigger challengers here for Ripper Rip, who has been with us for a number of seasons now and has consistently, as you said, been a qualifying specialist as well as a fantastic racer. But even as he alluded to during that same interview, you know, the challenges are become the more and more challengers coming up here inside the gold class. inside the ERGP in general, though. It's like the number of people joining now has been more than ever, and conversely, the competition is just getting harder and harder every season. So for Roy to be able to still be in that top 3 here is certainly fantastic to see that he still has the chops, especially when it comes to qualifying.
And you can see for a second that Clapano got the fastest time before he got outdone by Ripper. But then Shaukat also jumps up to second place. Haki, though, didn't get much of an improvement in his previous time as they come up now to the first of the traffic. And you gotta feel sorry for Kevin Samarajiwa. He is in a slower class, of course, so that's why that's the problem. He probably needs to back it off. Yeah, again, we just wanted to separate the classes, but
oh no!
And there's the problem, and there goes Roy. He might just appeal that one after this because that is his qualifying done. So that will leave up to the rest of the field as an open target to his pole time.
Yeah, Kevin, who had joined us earlier on, actually, the YouTube chat, is now taken onto the steering wheel, but unfortunately finds himself in the middle of a gaggle of gold class drivers. That's I think it's Cadillac right now on the side. Clapano getting caught up there out of the track. I think that's his qualifying session done already there, unfortunately. But we still continue on with Rajamil Shaukat right now taking on the GR010. Continuing to try to keep up with another car just in front of him. He is currently in second position, could potentially try to improve upon his time. He's right now behind Gerlandi Haki though, so this could be a fascinating one. I mean, again, when you're falling behind one of your rivals here in qualifying, you get to have a preview of sorts. Wow.
Just in time, he managed to actually sneak in the time and on for another lap, would you believe it? So Shaukat is still on here for potentially a pole time. 0.2 of a second behind, but I think he's backed it off, so he's not going to be able to improve now.
Yeah, but I think Glen Haki is still continuing on, though. He's looking like he's continuing to push on. So maybe he might be able to try to improve on his time. He's currently sitting in third position. Was hanging in front of Rajamil Shaukat, although he qualified about 1/10 of a second slower. This could be his opportunity now to maybe not only overtake Shaukat, but perhaps even try to challenge Ripper Rip for his amazing 125.1.
Yep, and all the while then, we will continue back on to Haki after this, but we're watching here Alonso Marcus Lacambra, who is actually pole sitter in the silver class. He comes across the line now. In fact, no, he's dropped to second because Shawn Michaels, not the wrestler by the way, manages to make it up to pole position for the silver class. So, it's a big field of silvers, by the way, including a Nazlan there. That's a proper Nazlan. That's Nazmir in the qualifying session, but he's right at the back, so unfortunately not the best of returns for him. Meanwhile, where is Haki? He's back in the pits as well. So that's it. Qualifying is done, and the main protagonists are in the mix. But first position still is held by the quality specialist. Nearly 0.2 of a second ahead is Roy Ripper Rip.
Yep, and I believe silver class pole is actually Felix Young.
Oh, Young.
Yeah, Felix Young is actually qualified ahead of Shawn Michaels there by 20 milliseconds, or rather 22 milliseconds to be exact. So very close qualifying here for the silver class.
Oh, wow, that is an amazing run there. And Young, again, proves why he was a challenger in the championship to Dominic Poon when they were in bronze at one point.
Yep.
So, there we go then. We're setting the stage. We are waiting for the start of the first of 2 races in gold and silver. And boy, do we have a mouth-watering prospect up in front. As you can see on the left-hand side of the screen, 4 different manufacturers in that top 5. Ferrari, Toyota, Lamborghini, and Cadillac. Wow.
I just love the diversity of makes going on here inside the gold class. I mean, it's just like in the real world, like World Endurance Championship. You know, this has been one of the best generations of endurance racing I've ever seen in my life, and it's great to see that we're able to represent this perfectly inside our global editions as well. Roy Ripper Rip, though, the qualifying specialist, is up on pole. Can he convert that into a win, though? And for this first round, that still remains to be seen in the next 15 minutes or so, as we are getting ourselves set up for our first race of the gold and silver class. Meanwhile, in the silver class there, on that note, Felix Young, Shawn Michaels will be starting in the front row for that category here. We've got Lacambra, Alonso Marcus Lacambra being in the second row alongside Dominic Boone. So we got, wow, I mean, again, we got 2 of the Hong Kong drivers inside the silver class now, starting on the first and second row. You got a Filipino in the form of Lacambra and Elliot Sturenagel. Guys, in fact, I'm not not in America, it says. He's in Malaysia. Okay.
I think the backlighting makes it look like it was in the day.
Right?
Yeah,
It looked like it was daylight coming in
yeah.
from the windows behind him. But okay, Elliot.
Yep. So, well, at least we can tell he is in the same time zone. And if he wants to, let's say, settle some grief with some drivers, he's only just a few. He's only just a traffic jam away.
Again. Please, guys, whatever happens on track stays on track, please. Nevertheless, 30 seconds still remain before we get ourselves underway for the gold and silver class races. It's going to be a fantastic way to cap off this round number 2. It's been one of the crazier seasons we've had so far in the global edition. Who knew that number Sweet 16 is going to be the one that really brings all of the drama here. 15 seconds ago, you can see the lights are getting ready now. Muhammad Fawzi Alim, you can see the view from the back. This is the view from the front though. Rajamir Shaukat alongside Ripper Rip. The red lights are going on now, and we are off for race number 1 of the gold and silver class here. Race 1 underway here, and already chaos at the start. That's one of the couple of cars that already end up in the wall, and a few if every pile of each other.
Oh, and a few cars roll as well. Well, they actually didn't make it further than the copper class. Would you believe it? They were on the start line. We had a couple of drivers spin there, including like in bronze, Yudinino Gonzalez. But most of the field have been caught up in that one, and that leaves an open gap for the rest of the field to come through.
Yep.
As Haki now trying to make do of his good start to the season by getting up to the front.
Yep, getting around the outside here in his Lamborghini. He is going to be able to cut in front of the Ferrari of Ripper Rip now. He takes the lead of the race. You can see Cameron James and Raja Shaukat, 2 Malaysians now fighting behind for the step on the podium. Roy Demir Ripper Rip locks up his tires a little bit there in that Ferrari. That might open the door now for Cameron James to try to get the catch up here. Raja Shaukat just watching from a distance right now, able to close in on Cameron James, and actually cuts him onto the inside, coming out of the toe of the boot and now into the heel here. And it looks like Raja Shaukat is ahead of Cameron James.
Good bit of driving there from Raja. He normally can actually be a bit nip and tuck when it comes to driving like that, but it shows that he has improved quite a lot since becoming a Toyota rookie. Meanwhile, Cameron James has another driver for company, and is in a striking livery too, might I add. That is Iman Ryan, who's driving this round for, apparently he's actually with Apex Brunei, so I'm not sure if that's the proper Apex colors. Whatever it is, really snazzy livery, along with Cameron James' one. But Cameron is the biggest loser out of that. He's actually dropped a couple positions, and here comes Ryan Musa into the pits. He's jumped the start.
Oh, no.
Oh, no, Ryan.
That's just, that's always the worst feeling in the world when you thought you did a great start and only to realize that you jumped it and now you had to take a drive-through penalty that's going to drop you all the way to the back of the grid here. That's just the worst feeling in the world, but he's just going to have to suck it up and continue on, I'm afraid. In the meantime, Chris Tiensen right now locking a bit of a gaggle here.
He ran wide big time there, coming through turn number 1, and allowed both Dominic Poon and Badia Nick to actually come by. Here comes Dominic onto the inside. He has the run on the Iranian Malaysian. Does he make it through? Wow, very brave from Badia to hang around the outside, and for good reason, because this is basically for the win in the silver class.
Exactly. I mean, Bardia has managed to make its way up into the front of the silver grid here, and now he's just catching up to one of the back markers. Is
Yep,
that's
back marker.
yeah, that's one of the back markers from the silver class as well. As
yeah.
Dominic Foon continues to keep up the pressure onto the Iranian Malaysian here. Chris Jensen has backed off a little bit out of this battle here, so it's really a two-way affair now for the lead. Look at him around the outside. Here comes the man from Hong Kong. Cannot quite find the speed though to catch up with Bardia Nick. So Bardia stays up in 8th place, or rather the 1st place in the silver class. Ooh, look at the braking though. Dominic Foon still trying to fight back, but not able to find the gap.
No way through just yet. And for Aulia Wafik Priyanata, well, he's not allied to both of these guys, so he'll just have to play ball and just get out of the way when the blue flags come waving. But all the while then, Dominic Poon will have comfort knowing that his teammate is... oh no, in fact, he's far away. I thought it was... his teammate was like, but it's Fauza Lim, in fact, who's managed to get it up to P4 after starting way at the back in the LMP2 field. So at least for him, the saving grace for him is that his nearest championship rivals are not having the best scoring day. So it can at least be damage limitations, shall we say, in the grand scheme of things.
Indeed it is. I mean, you can see the Sim Racing Lanka car already catching up here. Dominic Foon already catching Bardia Nick on the slipstream on the back straight, so he's going to try and move around the outside here. Let's see if he will be able to make it stick. Now going side by side. Oh, a bit of a touch there from Bardia. That forces Dominic to back out of it, and he tucks in behind Bardia once more.
Yep, and Bardia shows that he can go a bit elbows out, shall we say? I'll put it lightly on that one. He loves to race with his elbows out, but to some other driver's chagrin, that may not be the best way to do it. Though Dominic has to just put his racing hat on and try to unlock this door that Bardia has built up.
Yeah, this wall really that Bardia has built up in his defense right now of the lead opens the gap a little bit on the inside, but Dominic's not able to capitalize too much, only able to gain a bit of time here to try to catch up to Bardia's rear end. Still not able to find a way through, and Priyanata, in the meantime, still by virtue of being in the same car, is still able to stay ahead of these battlers for quite a while, despite the fact that he's actually one lap down compared to the two of them. But Dominic Foon still not resting on his laurels, still continuing to try to find every opportunity here, but still not able to get past Bardia Nick at this point.
Yep, we're focusing on the silver class battle right now because the top four are very close. Make no mistake, the front is really, really close as well, with Ripper, Shaukat, and Ryan within earshot of getting to the back of Galandi Haki. So we'll get to that battle right about now, I think, because they're coming through the boot section. And let's see then, which area are some of these cars more good at compared to the others?
Yeah, I mean, so far the Ferrari, I mean, even in Road America, didn't look that impressive. He was, Roy even mentioned he had kind of struggled a little bit in that race in the first round. So it's great to see that he's able to still stay on the podium here so far in this first round. In this first race of round number 2. But one wonders going forwards here, how much more skill levels does he need to try to pull off here? Bardia Nick, in the meantime, under massive challenge there for Dominic Food. Imagine find a way around the outside. This time around, he will be side by side, maybe already a head ahead now, coming onto the heel here as he try to find a way through. Bardia Nick just dives around the inside there of Dominic Food and retakes his position, but only just doesn't quite confirm it. Doesn't quite close the door on the end. Dominic Food continues to stay alongside, almost into the wall there. Bardia had to back out of that.
Oh, and you might say that time around it was actually Dominic with the elbows. And the Fawzan Alim nearly loses it because he got a bit of a tap there from Bardia Nick, and Bardia gets back up to P3. But we did say just now that Bardia is one for elbows out. Well, Dominic Poon shows that he can go elbows out and then some. Even takes a second table for good measure.
And meantime, quietly, Chris Tiensen is able to move up into second place in silver, 9th overall right now, and that puts him right behind Dominic Poon. So, well, Bardia Nick is now going to have the Sri Lankan for company here. While in the meantime, Ryan Musin, who had finished his drive-through penalty there for jumping a start, is now catching up to the front runners in the silver class.
Yep, and this will be an interesting dichotomy, isn't it? The speed between the two cars. Well, actually, the LMP2 car is not that bad either. The Orica 07. He could give Ryan a run for his money, but he's got more aero compared to the LMP2 cars. And for Fawzan Alim, annoyingly for him, he'll have to just play ball and get out of the way there. So for Ryan, it's just a matter of trying to get through the traffic safely. And I said get through the traffic safely. But Ryan nearly gets into the side of Bardia Nick, and that will be an international disaster in the making if that were to be a hit. It'll be bigger than the Cuban Missile Crisis.
It's really funny to think that, you know, literally any racing in an international setting is quite literally an international incident. No, definitely not the geopolitical kind, that's for sure. And it's Alexis Clapano now getting himself into the mix here, as now some of the gold class drivers starting to lap the silver driver back markers here. Galandi Haki, though, able to get himself up into alongside Ripper Rip, cuts him in front there, stays in the lead of the race. That was very touch and go there, though.
Ooh, yeah, he really had to put full trust on Roy, and then luckily Roy, with his racecraft that he has put to the fore here, just had to back off a bit, but saved his car. He'd rather lose at least a second or two rather than 20 from an accident.
Well, one thing's for sure, trying to pass that back marker has actually put the front top 3 drivers now into touching distance with each other. So now it is literally a 3-way battle here for first place. Galandi Haki already trying to build a bit of a gap down to Ripper Rip, but you can see Raja Mio Shaukat catching slowly but surely onto Ripper Rip's car.
Yep, and 3 different manufacturers up in that top 3. Again, we just have to underscore how much of a cosmopolitan grid that we have. We got 2 Italian cars up in front, a Japanese car in third, being driven by Indonesian, a Filipino, and a Malaysian up here on American soil. So, yeah, we can get very cosmopolitan and have at it.
Yep, have at it here. A Lamborghini leading a Ferrari, leading a Toyota. You never see this all the time here, but only here in the ERGP series. Roy Rip, though, he is certainly raring to try to have a go now onto Galani Haki. He's got a nice position for the slipstream, has his lights fully flashed out here. He's going to try to go alongside. In fact, he's going to probably cut him on the entry, going into the corner here. Cuts right in front of him there. Look at that move there from Roy Rip.
Returns the favor that happened last time out with Galani Haki. So these two are actually trading positions like gift cards. They really are happy to just, okay, let's battle each other, but someone's going to have to play the game of chicken in coming through that corner. And for both laps, consecutively, Haki and Rip traded positions, but wowee, what a battle that we have on our hands, and we still have 5 minutes to go. It's as if that the more that people battle, the more time moves slower.
No, it's just sometimes time really just flies when you're having fun, but it's a serious fun going on here between Roy as well as Gerlandi, and I wonder if they are on each other's Secret Santa's list, because I wonder if they're gonna have much camaraderie after this, because it's literally, you know, eye for an eye right now between the two drivers who are battling for that driver standings here.
Yeah, man, this might have championship implications much later on, but not now. We're only just into the second round, maybe after the halfway point. We'll see how it plays out.
Indeed, it will. Still be a long way to go, and it's still 4.5 minutes to go for this first round anyway. Galani Haki is still continuing to keep up with Rip as they pass another back marker from the silver class there, and all three cars are able to get right through with it, so they're still within half a second of each other. It's still a three-way battle, and I think this will continue until the very end.
Now, who is that he overtook? Oh, it's no, it's not Luis. It's can't even see who that one is, but it's Raziazis. So another one in the handshake, guys. He was involved in that major fracas on the start-finish line. So we barely got 20 meters going, and then suddenly all hell broke loose because someone actually didn't get the best of launches, and then the whole field streamed by. But either way, that is in the past. Drivers will probably be looking forward to the next race after this.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's a marathon, not a sprint. We still have 2 more rounds remaining here, 2 mystery tracks that will be announced at the start of every week here, as is tradition here for us in the ERGP. So make sure you guys stay tuned to our social medias, that's our Facebook and Instagram, and also subscribe to our YouTube and Facebook as well to ensure you stay notified whenever our live streams come up. It's going to be every Friday. Iman Ryan into the barrier here. What has happened to him?
And he's beached. He's actually stuck. You can see that he's trying to reverse, but oh no, in fact, he's actually waiting for the field to come by. So very smart play there.
Oh no!
Yeah, he has to retire from that one, unfortunately.
Oh, that's a shame there for Iman Ryan, who up until that point was running pretty well in the gold class, but now unfortunately we'll have to sit this one out. Roy Rip in the lead right now from Galani Haki. I wonder what happened as we cut off the camera there, but it's the Ferrari back up in front here.
Indeed, and for the time being though, he's looking much drier compared to what we saw him last time out. Remember, he was literally drenched at the end of the race. It's hard work, and someone did point out earlier that prototypes here, even for just half an hour, both races combined, can be quite a hard day's work. And for Roy, for the time being, staying cool up in front, but he did really have to work for it.
He really has to work for it. He has to work for it another 2.5 minutes here as this first race is coming to a close. Galani Haki is still half a second behind, so he cannot rest too easily here. Cannot lift and coast as much as he would want to towards the end here. Mohamed Fawzo Alim, the leader inside the silver class right now, continuing to keep the pressure onto Bardier. He wants to get himself up on the podium position at least here to gain some points, but Bardier has so far been a very, very tough customer for everyone involved here in the silver class.
Yeah, for Dominic Poon, he actually just showed the solution, even if it is not really recommended. Just try to elbow out the driver in front. But I think Bardia would definitely be putting in a protest on that one, because he would feel a bit unjust by the fact that he really got shafted completely.
I mean, he literally had to back out of it, or else he would ended up inside the tire barrier, right? So, well, that's going to be something for the series review for sure. As meantime, Rajamil Shaukat, look at that. He's so aggressive now onto Galani Haki, trying to get the slipstream as much as he can before the back straight inevitably runs out. Goes around the outside and then gets into contact. Into the tire barrier he goes.
And luckily, though, that DR10 is four-wheel drive. So he managed to just save it by going full Toyota Yaris to get out of that.
That's some of the WRC prestige coming through here in the LMDH class for sure. Roger Miro Shawkat stays in P3 for now. Let's just hope that that incident with the tire barrier didn't cause too much trouble. Oh, as I say that, I think he might have just spun a little bit, or someone has spun in the background.
I think that was Arif Rahman. Yeah, Arif Rahman. And in fact, whoa! Cameron James got away with that one because he was so on the racing line there. But mercifully, it didn't take out the leaders. Otherwise, we would have had a nightmare of stupid decisions to go through to get rid of whoever was supposed to be fined for that one.
Yeah, Roger Miro Shawkat now having to navigate another back market here, this time in the form of Williams Gato. Michael Vincent Velasquez in the Lamborghini as well, able to dispatch the silver class driver quickly, and now is able to get back on the case with Roger Miro Shawkat, who right now 3 seconds behind Gerlandi Haki. So regardless of regardless, it is still an unfortunate circumstance there that completely disrupted his battle. And speaking of battles though, Gerlandi Haki looks like he's back on it with Ripper Rip.
Yep, onto the back straight. Remember that this corner last time by, we saw a collision, a major one. Haki took out Shawkat, and Shawkat, luckily though, the front wheels were working with his favor, so four-wheel drive came to his rescue and prevented an even worse accident. If he went head on, he would have had damage that he would not recover from. So at least to his credit, the car's still going, albeit not as pristine as he would have wanted. He still has Velasquez, the other Balapan random driver, I think it's, no, NPR GP driver right behind him. So he still has company, albeit maybe he can just try to defend his way out of that. But Haki though, asterisk to him right now, whether or not the penalty is going to be given, is still in second place, 0.3 of a second behind, 0.4, 0.5, whatever it is, of Roy Ripper. And Roy will not be resting easy, knowing the fact that the battle still has to go on for yet another lap after this.
Yeah, again, it's still going to be another lap after Roy goes past control line, so still one more lap of this battle to continue on. And Gerlaki, just touches the tires on the outside as it comes around the final corner. That could not have done well for him, two wonders for him here, unfortunately. And it's still half a second behind. I think lost quite a bit of time there coming into turn one. That would have been a perfect place to try to set up for something, but now he's going to have to do it the harder way around.
Yeah, let's see then. He doesn't have the draft though. The toe would have been much more potent if he was within 0.4 of a second. 5 or 6 tenths, your luck may run out just a bit, as a couple of drivers on the recovery drive. Adam Harif, who was involved in that big accident at the start, Murdoch, he had to leave the silver and come back in. He's back up to the top 10 now. He's overtaken Bardi and Nick as well for good measure, and his championship rival from last season, Fazil Alim. So let's see then how Roy will negotiate this, because more traffic is coming on the way here from guys in the silver class. So I don't think it might be a factor though. He'll have to watch out. Definitely needs to tread carefully if he wants to actually claim this so deserved win to kickstart his championship.
Exactly. I mean, Roy is just on the verge of tasting that success now. He just needs to navigate these final few corners and perhaps a few silver cars that line up just in front of him here. But can he actually catch up into the end before he catches up to them? I think no, he's going to have to get past them anyway. Look at that, though.
And
having to thread the needle. And Haki goes wide, though. He had to go wide around the outside there to avoid a silver class driver. And Roy Namera Ripper Rip is going to have a clear run up to the finish line. He takes a checker flag and the win in the gold class, ahead of Gerlandi Haki, ahead of Velasquez, ahead of Raja Miro Shawkat for the gold class.
Oh, we unfortunately missed that overtake between Velasquez and Shawkat, but Shawkat got nicked there for the podium, and he might feel a bit incensed knowing that he got really whacked there by Gerlandi Haki a couple of laps earlier. But whatever it is, Roy Rip Rip is on his victory lap, and he will be absolutely over the moon with that one. His smile was ear to ear. You can barely see his ears afterwards. And something happened to Shawn Michaels. No, Christiansen. Christiansen was up to second at one point in silver, has dropped it now to P5. So something happened in between as well, because Fazal Lim's now up to P2. Dominic Poon has a clear run to the line.
Yeah, wow, this is a major mix-up there, although the only consistent here is that Dominic is still in the lead of the silver class. And you can see Muhammad Fawzu Alim still behind him, so he may be able to finish in second place. Adam Harif flashing the silver class driver here as he tries to get past here in order to be able to take up into his 8th place overall here. But Dominic Foon has certainly been the outstanding driver here in the silver class for round number 2. He comes across the line now to take the checkered flag for Hong Kong and to win the first race here for the silver class in round 2.
And Fawzan Lim extends his championship lead. Yes, he'll lose a couple of points to Dominic Poon, but he'll be happy that damage limitation came in clutch here, and he is gonna still lead coming into race number 2. Third place is Shawn Michaels. Well, he'd definitely be happy not to be in the cage this time around to be thrown out of it, but he is on the podium and he will take that either way. 4th place is Christensen in silver, and 5th is Felix Young. Wow, what a start. And we still, again, we just have to, pinch ourselves sometimes. There's still another race to do.
Still another race to go here, ladies and gentlemen. Gold and silver class not quite done yet. But again, still congratulations there to Roy Numer Ripper Rip, able to convert his pole position into a win this time around. Although it was definitely a very hard-fought one for sure. As Galandi Haki was constantly hounding him all throughout. This could have massive implications for the championship, especially later on as we see how race number 2 is going to transpire here. As for the silver class though, Dominic Foon dominating this time around here. It seemed like after he took the lead in the silver class, he never really looked back because most of the chaos was really happening just behind him. We saw Fawzi Alim, he was up in the 4th place in the silver class. He had Chris Tiensen as well as Bardia Nick for company at that time, but something happened between that final lap of when we last saw them to that final lap, because in the end, Bardia Nick only finished in the 6th position for silver class.
Yeah.
Right behind Felix Young, right behind Chris Tiensen.
I think because Murdoch, Adam Harif, actually was cutting through all of that. He was the much faster class. And maybe Bardia got knocked out big time out of that. He was in the podium positions, but now he dropped out of it. So one thing he'll feel a bit miffed though by the fact that Dominic Poon was a bit more elbows out than he would have liked. But again, no major collision happened. It's just that he got crowded out a bit. So we'll wait and see later on when the results get published. Maybe tomorrow, once we can sort out the mess in some of the other classes that happened with the crazy collisions there.
Yeah, it's gonna be a long night for you guys in the stewarding room there for sure. But this is exactly what we signed up for here in the ERGP. We do all of this to ensure the highest possible driving standard, especially here in the gold and silver class. We want some of the best, to race in the series here in the fastest cars in our series. Yep. So now that we have the reverse grid applied, we've got a bit of a interesting situation here. Can you see? Like Dominic Foon and Muhammad Alim, Fawzu Alim are going to be starting on the front row as the silver class, and behind them are all of the gold class top 8s.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's going to be interesting. And unfortunately, Calpano didn't get the rub of the green because he was in 23rd in that first race. But whatever it is, we're going to get out of the way, Vic.
Yeah, we got to get it out of the way now as red lights are coming on here for a reverse grid for the top 10. Race number 2. Final race on Watkins Glen this evening is gonna be gold class and silver class underway now. And let's see how Adam Harim is gonna try to cut ahead of everyone involved here. But a bit of a ping pong going on in the background. I think that's Cameron James caught out in the worst of it, and more cars coming in to collect him as they come across. Look at the chaos going on in turn 1.
Oh, that's a nice cinematic shot, but not in the way that we don't want it to see, as a lot of the cars go left, right, and center. Iman Ryan is the one that got caught out of that. But up in front, Murdoch manages to clear out of the way, and he leads by about a second from Fawza Alim, who's second overall, but running first in the silver class.
And Murdoch as well, like, I'm just looking at him in the camera, he looked like he just came out of the mosque. Quite literally still wearing a baju Melayu all the way there, but ever ready to race this man is, and now he is in the lead here. Although got Ryan Musin also following behind. Ryan Musin also from Handshake Racing is going to be a very delightful addition for Adam Harif here in order to try to defend his lead. He's now getting past Fawzu Alim. They're racing in different classes, so it's not consequential this pass here. But for Muhammad Fauzo Alim. He certainly wants to try to stay ahead of Christiansen as much as possible, but now he's being passed by the other gold class driver. Hidayat is already through in that Peugeot. Raja Amir Shaukat is just behind him. He's already just past the silver class leader as well.
Yeah, that could get quite dicey at times, but at least Fauzo Alim is playing ball quite nicely. The advantage he had earlier has unfortunately eroded because he had to give way. Now Christiansen is going to do through the same thing because here's Roy Rip, and we thought Roy was involved because there was a Ferrari in the midst that hit the back of Cameron James. But luckily though, he's actually gotten out of the way in time, and the battle between the silver guys will continue maybe after Clapano comes through after this.
Yeah, in the meantime, don't actually see where Galandi Haki is on the board here. You see,
Haki's in the pits.
Haki's in the pits.
Oh no!
Oh.
Wow. Now that is a turnout for the books, isn't it? If Haki actually didn't get as many points as he would like in that first race, plus on top of the penalty decision that's going to come, he might just be under pressure from this man in question, Roy Ripperip.
That's it. Where this also depends on where Ripperip finishes at the end of this. Currently, he's sitting in 5th place.
Whoa.
Knowing his speed, he may be able to catch up to some of these guys sooner rather than later. I think we saw someone go off the track just now.
Ryan Musin.
Ryan Musin, right now, who is running in that 5th position here. Now Ripperip has already gotten past him, and now he's got Nur Hidayat in his sights.
Oh, something happened to Shaukat. No! Murdoch spins! Murdoch spins at the toe of the boot. Would you believe it? The leader, who looked so comfortable at one point, has dropped it all the way, and he has his hands in his head. Oh, look at it. Well, that's perfect timing from our camera producer to catch the recording as it happened. But, as you said, he was ready to race. It looks as though he might have actually been flustered for a second.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate. I mean, it's something that Adam had to work on, I think, even in the past, even up till now. Sometimes it's just that choke just somehow happens for him in the worst possible time. So, well, the only saving grace for him is that he's still somewhat inside the points here for race number 2, so perhaps he could recover somewhat. Currently, he is ahead of Michael Vincent Velasquez, just behind Clapano at the moment, so it's sitting in that 7th position, 6th place in the gold class, so it still could be some points for him yet.
Yeah, but for Murdoch, going back to him, he didn't choke last season though. He really had to hold clutch to win that one as Roy Rip goes around the outside.
Oh my god, just making it like it's nothing.
He loves doing the outside moves. We saw it also in Road America how he did it, and he's doing it here at Watkins Glen. And he did it on Haki as well to win the race just now. So really, he is a man who has a firm grasp of this car. Really love his work right now.
Yeah, just a perfect driver for the Ferrari, isn't it? Raja Amir Shaukat, though, he's probably going to be eyeing that gap between himself and Rip because that's going to be shrinking down maybe. We'll have to see. Still got 10 minutes to go in this race. Still quite a ways to go.
And look who's in front of Shaukat on the road right now.
Hey.
It's our championship leader, or maybe outgoing championship leader. Depends on what happens with the points table after this. But Roy Riprit looks really particularly good to challenge up as we go to the halfway point after this. But Shaukat now, it's 2.6 seconds ahead. Let's see how he can hold on to this and what Haki will do in front here.
Yeah, I mean, it's great to see our championship leader continuing on with the race, even though he is very much out of the points right now. But very, very nice to see him back out on track, still racing on as if, you know, as if nothing has really happened. Think about it.
I mean, yeah, apart from the fact that positions-wise, he would rather be up there than be right at the back. In fact, he's pretty much in no man's land right now. Even among the LMP2s, he's really that far behind. So he's just doing it right at to get points. And remember, he is still, for all intents and purposes, still in that top 10 in the gold class. So he can still get at least a point out of this, a point, but it could still play into his hands in later rounds if the drop points come to play after this.
Every single point matters here, especially in a championship. So good on him on rejoining the race here to bring us a good finish here for race number 2. As now we jump on board with Alexis Clapano here, who has got Irfan Nur Hidayat in his sights here. The Peugeot, very distinctive without the spoilers that we normally expect come from these Le Mans prototype cars. The Peugeot is certainly very unique in that regard, taking full advantage of that ground effect as well as unique choices for their aerodynamics here, and it's certainly made for a very unique looking car on track.
Though they actually turned that back against the no wing concept by putting a rear wing on the Evo because they had a Joker, in development. We don't have that model right now, unfortunately. No one has made the latest Peugeot model, despite it now being almost 11 months old by this point. But we'll wait and see. Maybe next season we get the latest iteration of the Peugeot in, the 9X8. But regardless of that, Irfano Hidayat might be just trying to count his lucky stars, knowing that he's up in the podium position right now. But Clapano is still hot on his heels in the conventional-looking Cadillac CTS VR car as he goes around the outside into the outer loop and makes it through. So the the LMDH VR goes into P3.
Yep, the Filipino also joining his fellow compatriot on the podium here as Ripper continues to try to chase out the Rajamiro Shaukat. That gap still sitting at 2.5 seconds, has not shifted at all in the last lap. So seems that Ripper Rip is not able to rip it on the track yet to catch up to Rajamiro Shaukat. Or perhaps Raja is really pushing that hard to try to ensure that he keeps up with Galandi Haki in front of him, just to maybe just compare a little bit how they actually stack up in terms of pace, maybe.
Or fastest lap points.
Ah.
You still have to remember those fastest laps really have come in handy for some people in the past, and it's worth 2 points, of course. So that's why Shaukat right now is still pushing it, albeit with a bit of company up in front. Ripper Rip in second place, 2.5 seconds behind as they come across the line that time around. It's even Stevens between lap time on the both of them. So to 125.6 for Raja, 125.4 for Roy. So Roy was a 10th up that time around, but still not enough to chip away at the lead that Shaukat has gotten after Murdoch's really unfortunate mistake.
Yeah, and sadly for him, he's still stuck in that 6th place there. Adam Harif, aka Murdoch, is. Meantime, for the silver class, Muhammad Fauzo Alim continues to lead on and has a very healthy lead ahead of Chris Tiensen, so he's very much not worried, I think, at this point. It's mostly going to be about bringing it home here for the Sim Racing Lanka team. Chris Tiensen, in the meantime, is ahead of Lacambra, so that's the top 3 for your silver class at the moment, although you can also see Iman Ryan slowly trying to make his way back up into the top 8 to join up with the gold classes, but still got a couple of silver class drivers to dispatch first before he's able to get up into that position.
Yeah, I still really like the livery that he has on this because it looks a bit like BAR in 1999 when, remember, they revealed the split livery? That it looks exactly like this
the
one.
one half of it, maybe.
Yeah, the half. But actually, have you seen the full car? Because they had 2 cars.
Yeah, they had 2 cars.
Yeah,
true,
so this was the full car that Zonta drove. Well, supposed to be until the FIA stepped in and said, "No, you can't run. You can't run 2 separate liveries. You have to be the same. Otherwise, it'll be an American sport where you don't know which driver is the team because it's European.
Yeah.
It's a traditional European way. We want to know whose team is it. So as opposed to being in the American sport, as Christiansen runs white there.
Yeah.
Christiansen had a moment, but yeah, the American way, you can run any colors in the team.
Yeah, well, I mean, the funny thing is, like, for me, the first thing that popped into my mind was literally Iman Ryan's livery looks a lot like a Tamiya car. like a mini 4-wheel drive.
Yeah, except it does have the fenders that go on the outside, and it doesn't look outlandishly weird because it's not like that.
It's not like that.
Yeah, I agree with you.
The Le Mans the Le Mans prototype cars look the closest I feel to an actual mini 4-wheel drive slot car.
Yeah,
just styling alone.
Just squint your eyes, you might see that. As something happened to Hidayat, he's actually out of the race.
What?
You can see the D at the side because normally that's if it's P, it's in the pit lane, but if it's a D, he's actually DNF'd. So it might have been internet connection issues on his part.
Oh no! Well, that's a shame. He was running very nicely in the top of the gold here, so that moves him out. That allows Clapano now up into 3rd place. Ryan Musin is currently in 4th. Adam Harif in 5th now. So that's completely changed up the order a bit for the gold class, and with Clapano now up into that 3rd spot. And Adam Harif at least could be happy that at least he's able to gain back a few more points here, so it's not completely out of the woods for him yet.
But now, the main point of contention is, will it be Team Orders? Because these are part of the handshake team, and Ryan is the more junior of the 2 drivers. He is only 16 after all, and Murdoch is just slightly a few years older, 20 years old this year. Will he? Oh, Haki's out of the race. Haki's actually dropped it out of the race, so he's opted not to continue. And if he thinks that he could get points out of this, unfortunately, he has to complete a certain percentage amount of laps, 75%. Because we see it in the results table. If the consistency meter is not registered, he's out of race. So Haki then may not be able to get the most number of points here. And Shaukat or Rip, who is his closest challengers, might have a field day.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I think it's only about, what, 67% at most here for Geladi Haki, so that's definitely not going to qualify. But knowing these two drivers here, Ryan Musin as well as Adam, I think Ryan wouldn't concede that place unless Adam catches him, you know, very much like legally so. Let's put it that way. So I think Ryan is still going to try to race Adam Hari for this fourth position because, you know, as a point of pride, you know, even when he's that young, he's still very ambitious as a driver here. But Adam's still going to cut him anywhere around the inside and moves up into fourth place.
He gave him way too much space there. I think Ryan didn't want to engage in a battle with Murdoch, and knowing how Murdoch is normally smiling, he's a very smiley guy. But he is not in the best of moods right now.
Understandable.
Yeah, it's very understandable knowing that the win was in his hands, that he could have gotten his first ever gold win. But the momentary lapse in concentration robbed him of that one. So I think it's better for Ryan to not fight.
Yeah, and another Ryan this time around here. Iman is already up into 8th place here, having already gotten past the silver class leader, Muhammad Fawzo Alim. So now he can continue on unimpeded here for 18 whole seconds. So he's got a clear bit of track in front of him. And Fawzo Alim, in the meanwhile, also very much in a race of his own here, having no one around him to really challenge him. Alonso Marcus Lacambra looking a little bit shaky coming out of that final turn there. Currently trying to put the pressure on to Chris Tiensen. Not sure who's going to be able to make it this time. Oh, look at that.
Mercifully, the runoff at Watkins Glen turn 1, it came to his rescue. If it was gravel trap or even grass, he would not have been so lucky. But again, it just brings the question of too much runoff is not a good thing. But Watkins Glen, I think, has a good balance. You can see grass on the outside, gravel in some places, and in most cases, places to just really stretch your legs. And like this, at the back straight, around the outside comes Lacambra. Does he try to hang it out just like what Roy Rip does? And he's probably taking a bit of the lead for that one. He hangs it out. Can he take it? Can he take second place away? In fact, we've lost him for a second. Yes, he does. But Christiansen hangs it out. And for good measure, Dominic Poon is not that far behind.
Look at that. It's still battling all throughout. Chris Jensen regains the position there, but Alonso is now under pressure as well from Dominic Foon from behind. So it's turned now into a three-way battle. Look at the way that now he's trying to move around the outside here of Chris Jensen. Cannot quite find his way through, but Chris goes a little bit wide. Might lose him a bit of time. Now he's going to try to outbreak him around the inside. Chris Jensen, though, still able to hang on there while Dominic Foon hangs around the outside of Lacambra. Still a three-way battle between these. As now Dominic is in a position. He tried to go for the dive, but had to back out of it. Chris Jensen stays in 10th.
And all the while, then behind them, Bardia is also in a battle with William Sanjotto. Bardia gets hung out to dry, and Sanjotto gets the position away. But that battle for second place in the silver class really was the highlight of the race so far. How on earth did they not crash out?
I know. That's just crazy, like crazy coordination as well as reactions coming out from all three of the silver class drivers that we're seeing on screen right now. Dominic now continuing to keep the pressure onto Chris Tiensen. He is now on the back straight, has a draft, he has a speed. Now he will be alongside, touching the tires a little bit. Oh, ping-ponging it around here as they break for the turn. Dominic Fu moves up into 10 and holds that position ahead of Chris Tiensen.
Wow, Dominic there, he was the guy who's overtaking, but the way that he tried to elbow out was almost as if he was actually defending. So he was attacking while being a bit defensive about it, and it paid off for him. It looks as though he's the one that it drives with his elbows up more than some of the other drivers that we mentioned earlier. But credit to where credit's due. He does it with at least some space left for the other driver to drive.
Yep, I think the timer has just run out. Our race leader, Rajamil Shaukat, is still a long ways away in Sector 3. So we will still be seeing at least 2 more laps of racing between these top 3.
Chris Jensen runs wide.
Chris runs wide there, and that's going to allow Lacambra to come right through and snatch up that 3rd place for the silver class.
And Sanjotto also wants a piece of the action because he knows that a podium is on the cards here because Fawza Alim, let's be honest, he's sacked out right now, 10 seconds to the good in front of the Hong Konger, or the Hongkonese. I think we might have just probably blurted out something that sounded way crazier than expected. But the Hong Kong driver up in front in P2 is in front of Lacambra, Christensen, and Sanjotto. So these guys are left to duke it out for the final position on the rostrum.
I'm actually going to ask like my Hong Kong friends what's the proper term, I suppose, to refer to a man from Hong Kong, I guess. Hong Kongese, Hong Konger. Lots of options going on here. Williamson Joto, though, cuts in front of Christiansen. He has the inside line coming in true now. He may be able to keep up this pressure here, but Christiansen still rounds around the outside and takes the inside on the next turn. Doesn't quite make the dive, though. Sunjoto able to close the door right on the entry point just in the nick of time.
And, well, it is Hong Kong.
Hong Konger? Okay, he's actually a Hong Konger.
Yep.
All right.
Either way, now we can try to hold back some of the laughter that we have accrued here. But Sunjoto got the better of Christensen. Now he wants to set his sights on the podium as we're on the last lap. We need to get back up to the front where Raja Shaukat is coming through the toe of the boot. He only has one more sector to go right now, and he will be home free. Flashes his lights. He will take his first ever win in the gold class. He will definitely be laughing all the way to the back as very, very close there.
Well, I mean, he's in the faster car, of course, being in the GR010, and it's a lot faster than the Orica LMP2 cars that we have out here. Four-wheel drives, four-wheel action, and four-wheel perfection here for Rajamil Shaukat. Coming around the final corner, this is his time to shine. Rajamil Shaukat, the rookie of TGR, now a winner in the gold class, taking the checkered flag for the gold class now, as a car spins out in the background there. Not sure who that is. Clapano. Wait, Clapano moves up into second place, and Ripper Rip only gets him a third.
Was that Felix Young? It was Felix. Wow, Felix actually just got into a collision with Roy Ripperip, and Roy, his chances to get out to second place at that time ripped up completely, but he's still on the podium.
He's still on the podium at least, but oh boy, he's definitely not going to be too happy with that. Doesn't look too pleased on the camera, that's for sure. Adam Harif finishes a respectable 4th place, but what could have been for the young Malaysian here? He was on the verge of taking his first win before crashing out on his own. Michael Vincent Velasquez takes up the 5th place. Adam Jusmin takes up 6th, and Ryan Musin finishes in 7th place. Now we are seeing Iman Ryan come across the line to claim 8th place in the gold championship.
Yep, but the biggest winner of the lot in the silver class has to be Fauza Alim. He will extend his championship lead as he comes across the line to win it in the silver class. A comprehensive win up in front. Dominic Poon, with his elbows out throughout the entire round, finishes 2nd, and Lacambra will come across the line 3rd in front of Sunjoto. Christensen will be a bit disconsolate in 4th place, and Badia Nick in 5th in the silver class. So that is our program for today in all the classes. What an amazing race, group of races that we had today. But at the end of it, I think we can safely say the choices of cars that we had for all 4 classes, top notch. We definitely are happy to keep them for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, I mean, ever since GE 14, 15, we've already picked up this pack of cars now for our series going forwards, and it's been a fantastic choice, I have to say. I mean, the level of racing that we're seeing, the close racing, I should say, is the biggest thing. The amount of moves around the outside, like what Roy Numeri has done repeatedly over the course of this season. I think we're going to be seeing a lot more of that in the next 2 rounds of the ERGP Global Edition number 16. So that is the end of the racing. Not quite the end of the show yet for you guys. We might be coming back after the break with an interview, so make sure you guys stick around for that. Want to remind you all to also stay subscribed here to our YouTube channel, to our Facebook here. Make sure you follow us on our social medias, which is going to be Facebook as well as Instagram, so you can stay notified for the ERGP. We'll be right back with a little short break, but we'll be back here with an interview with one of our drivers here from the gold or silver class. We'll have to see. We'll be right back after these messages.
Pewter is about possibilities. It is an idea made real. Crafted with precision. It can make tradition timeless. Pewter evolves. When allowed to be free, it can captivate you. Pewter is our legacy, and we're keeping the legacy alive. Royal Selangor, since 1885.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're having an interview now with Roy once more. Roy, no matter Rip or Rip, has been able to get yourself back on the podium here. But I actually want to ask you, what actually happened in that final lap? Because I think you got into collision with someone towards the end.
Yeah, unfortunately, the timing was very bad. There was an LMP2 just literally right was going on the inside on the last corner. So it was, for me, it was all or nothing, because if I concede, like if I lift, Alexis behind me would surely get the position, since he will have a better exit, and it will have there is still a lot of track left until the finish line. So yeah, that was my mindset.
Yeah, that's just sounds like a very unfortunate situation there for sure. So, but I mean, still kudos though. You still managed to make it up onto the podium here, and I've got to say, the outside overtakes that you keep doing over and over again. We saw those in Road America. We see it once again at Watkins Glen. Do you think is that something that you've like kind of like are aiming to do, or it's just really just a consequence of like the competitiveness of the field here, or is it perhaps the tracks here actually make it much more suitable to do those kind of moves?
Yeah, honestly, when it comes to my racecraft, I mostly go on the inside, because I would rather have myself be like, in case like I would bump someone off, rather than someone inside of the corner bump me off. So but what happened was, when I saw, I think Haki was it, the green Lamborghini, when the P2 on the first race. So I saw him going on the outside on the first lap. So I thought to myself, wait, it seems that the outside line was faster. So when it came time that I was close enough on the exit of turn 1 and I got slipstream, I decided to go on the outside, and it did work. So I carried it into race 2. So it worked out for me.
It just works, right? It's always one thing that you love, right? Is when a plan just comes together as a racing driver. But I think, like, so far already coming through the 2 rounds here. I mean, what are your thoughts at the end of this? You still feel that like things have certainly heated up right now in this championship battle here of Global Edition? I mean, given that Gerlandi Haki actually DNF'd in race number 2 here, I think I think that certainly means that it could be a good chance for you to battle in this championship, isn't it?
Yeah, that's news for me. So, but I think for me the competitiveness has rised, especially I think for me the fast guys are coming out, and then it's all just a matter of having to have lesser mistakes. Like what happened in race 1, I just followed him until to the point where he made small mistakes that I followed him. So yeah, I think for me, the remaining 2 rounds will be a very, very hot race.
It is certainly going to be here, and we're going to leave you now to cool down a little bit. But before we let you go, anything you'd like to shout out here for our viewers back at home?
Oh, good timing. So, right now, actually, I'm in a Google call because we're working on our last semester research. So I would like to shout out my group mates.
Hey.
So Arian Dominic Feji, John Arquiliano, Xavier Chato, Dane Angela, Shivery, Nisha, Atenisha, and our professor for the subject, Professor John Paul Tosok. So yeah, it kept me company, honestly. When the race, I was hearing them. I said to them that I won't be able to like communicate for at least an hour. So yeah, now I can go back to work.
Well, okay. Well, on that note, thank you so much for joining us here in this interview, and good luck on the future rounds and also on your group project there.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much, Roy the Bear Ripper Rip, and that is going to be it. I think we have one more interview, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, but once again, you can see Roy put up a good sweat there again. Really, he is absolutely drenched once again, but it does prove the point. Even though it's just a sprint race, 15 each, it is such hard work because it's the concentration. You really have to put your mind to it. Plus, on top of qualifying earlier, and you have to race against multiple people in two different classes. It does become genuinely hard work, and I don't blame Roy for that one if he looks really knackered afterwards. But then again, he's doing it while he's in a conference call with his university mates. So I can always imagine juggling that. I know I've done that before. I've commentated while driving before, and it can be quite exhilarating. But you really have to use your mind a lot. And for Roy, well, he's gonna take another well-deserved shower afterwards to just, cool off and bask in the fact that he is potentially gonna be in the lead again in gold.
Yeah, I mean that still remains to be seen with the official results coming out later on after we've already processed all of the incidents, all the protests that inevitably going to be coming to the steward's office right about now. But on that note, it's been a fantastic round of racing once more. I mean, round 1 was an explosive start to the season. Round 2, bit more drama, bit more chaos, but and then also perhaps a change of the guards, as it were, when it comes to the championship leaders. So that still remains to be seen. Make sure you guys stay tuned to our social medias because that's where we're going to be announcing the full official results of round number 2. So that's going to be on our Facebooks and our Instagram. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's where we post all of our VODs. All the live streams are on that channel as well. Make sure you guys join us next week, next Friday, the 13th of December, because that's where round 3 is going to be underway. We will announce the track on the start of next week, so make sure you guys stay tuned for that. Up until then, well, it's been a fantastic race here in round number 2 for the eRacing GP. My name is Victor Cax. Joining me here is Ammo. We'll see you guys next Friday here for round number 3 of the Global Edition 16. Until then, good night and good luck.